All right, all right, all right. How are you guys? How's it going? How's it going? Where are you guys watching from? Please post your location in the chat box. Let me know where you guys are watching from. Welcome to Mberiket Live. My name is Rich Mberiket. Today's topic, we are going to be talking about US Nigeria investing in 2026, on how to start your investing journey in 2026. If you're watching for the first time, I cannot assume that everybody who's tuning in are returning viewers. So we get new viewers all the time. So if you're watching for the first time, my name is Rich. I am the founder of Embericat. We are a US Nigeria business and investment platform. I am sitting in Las Vegas, my principal residence in the United States of America. And our audience are primarily Nigerians in the diaspora. We have Nigerians back home who also tune in. So welcome, welcome, welcome. So 2 weeks before Christmas, yes, today is December 10th, 2 weeks before Christmas. How are you guys? Are you preparing for those who are traveling home for the holidays? I wish you a safe trip home and also a safe trip back to wherever you live from all over the world. So today I checked the exchange rates. It's currently 1,468, depending on the platform that you use. I've also seen other platforms, it's even higher than 1,468. Some are reporting 1,485, which is a little bit odd though for this time of year. So what that means is that's like the dollar is actually strengthening against the naira. So the naira is weaker. A couple of days ago, the naira was much stronger than the dollar. So what is really informing this shift? Because generally, mid-December, Nigerians are traveling home. So there really isn't a need for USD. Most importers who rely on foreign currency are generally not conducting business this late in the year. So I'm curious to what is actually causing the dollar to be as strong as it is this time of the year. Usually the dollar starts strengthening around January after the holidays, where business is back. Importers are looking at forex to be able to purchase and import goods from countries like China or even the United States. So things are at a standstill right now as far as like the holidays is concerned. In the United States, most things start shutting down this week, actually. This is probably maybe the last week of actual work in the United States. Most people start, I always say Friday is like the last day at work, and they are just getting ready to take the remaining 2 weeks off to go celebrate Christmas and the holidays with their families, wherever they are. So, could it be that, I mean, would you say that Nigerians back home are paying school fees abroad? And what is really driving the need of Forex right now? So, that's a little bit confusing because generally, it's usually not that like that. December is a slow month for the USD. And for those who are living abroad, you know this. You know that the best time to start effecting or to restart projects is usually after the holidays when the dollar is going to strengthen. So anticipate the dollar. Again, I don't know if it's just because it's the Christmas rush. I really don't know why. But generally, or maybe it's just dirty December that has a lot to do with it. But most people are traveling home, though. They're taking the hard currencies back home to exchange locally. So there's a lot of USD right now in the Nigerian markets. So I'm a little confused as to what is causing it. But anyway, if you know, post in the chat. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, CJ Canadian? How's it going? Welcome as usual, CJ. So, one of the top questions that I get is, can foreigners buy investment properties in Nigeria? And then the second part to that question is, can Nigerians living back home in Nigeria buy investment properties in the United States? So let me answer the first one. Yes, foreigners can legally own investment properties in Nigeria. There's nothing in the constitution that prevents foreigners to own properties back home. So you can, if you want to go home and you are a foreigner, you are not a Nigerian citizen, you just have to follow the same investment principles that you follow abroad. You find somebody that's selling a property, more than likely you want to get a certified agent. The safest for those who are abroad, like foreigners, is just to go directly through real estate development companies. You don't want to be dealing directly with landowners. We call them omonile in Nigeria. So your safest bet is just to go through a, a realtor, a licensed and certified realtor. And you also want to go through an estate, an actually true CAC registered developer. That is how we purchased our property in Ibejuleki near the Dangote refinery. We went through a real estate development company that is still around. They're expanding right now in Nigeria, particularly in that Lagos axis. The Lagos state of Nigeria is where they are. So, yes, nothing is preventing you from owning investment properties. Even currently, a lot of American citizens and celebrities are investing all across Africa. So you can invest in Nigeria, you can purchase rental properties in Nigeria, you can build a house in Nigeria as a foreigner. So the requirement of being a citizen of Nigeria, there's no such thing. You can own a home legally in Nigeria. Just go through the the legal process of owning a home, starting with finding a realtor. Make sure you conduct careful due diligence on whoever you are dealing with. If you don't know how to navigate around the Nigerian system, that is what a platform like Embericat is for. You can reach out to us directly and we can work with you navigating purchasing property in Nigeria while based abroad. Now, on the flip side of that, can Nigerians living back home legally own investment properties in the United States? And the answer to that is also yes. Nothing is preventing you, just like buying, being abroad and buying a home in Nigeria. There are a lot of licensed, certified realtors in the United States that actually help foreigners buy homes in the US. United States is actually one of the easiest places for foreigners to own properties. Did you know that? So you can do that. Actually, a lot of Nigerians right now are starting to diversify their holdings outside of Nigeria. Just like how Nigerians in the diaspora are looking back home, Nigerian investors are also looking outside of Nigeria for investment properties, purchasing of securities, stocks, and index funds. They are also doing that. I think that's a smart business move and a smart investment move because you don't want to necessarily have all of your eggs in one basket. The United States is a safe and enabling environment for Nigerians living back home to own properties. And like I said, many of them actually do own properties in the United States while domiciled and based in Nigeria. And then they travel out here, spend vacation time in their homes in the US. So they do it. But here's the thing though, you should probably know before you make that choice. So in the US, we have what is called property taxes here in the United States. So even if you own your home outright, you still have to pay property taxes on your home. Like in our case, we own our property, and the standard way of home mortgages in the US is 30 years. That's the standard home mortgage uh, timeline is 30 years. I know Trump is actually trying to increase it right now to 50 years, but a lot of people are not buying into that. You can still pay off your home though in under 30 years if you choose to, but the standard mortgage rate currently in the United States is 30 years. The interest rate right now is a little bit high. I mean, when we purchased this home in the pandemic, our interest rate was only 2.9%. Currently, the interest rate right now is about 5.56%, depending on where you are in the United States. So you are going to pay property taxes, even if you own your home or your investment property outright. Now, capital gains. Let's talk about capital gains. And for those who have, if you're looking into, let's say you've invested in a property out here and then you're looking at selling that property, most property owners in the US usually do not, um, they don't want to pay the capital gains tax. And let me explain how that works. So let's say you invest $200,000 on a property and you are able to sell that property for profit, and you profit, let's say, $100,000 from that $200,000 investment. After you've accounted for all of your expenses, obviously, and let's say you walk away with $100,000 cash from your investment. If you go the route of actually just doing a straight out sale, you are going to pay capital gains tax on that $100,000. So let's say it's 30%. I don't know what the capital gains tax is right now, but let's say it's 30% of your profit of $100,000. You have to pay the United States government $30,000. So the walk around on that is most people who are engaged in real estate investments generally don't sell for the capital gains. What happens is they actually trade up that property to something better, something higher. So let's say you purchase a duplex. Nigeria, a duplex is up and down. Here we call it a single story property. In the United States, we don't we count the first floor. Nigerians usually don't count the first floor. They start counting story buildings from like the floor above. So let's say you are invested in a fourplex, meaning a building with four different apartments, individual apartments in that building. And you find a buyer for that building and you sell that building and you make some and you're able to profit off of it. Instead of paying the government capital gains tax from your profits, you simply upgrade to, let's say, a sixplex or a eightplex. So you are still compounding your investments. So you are going from, let's say, duplex, which is a building with two doors. You sell that property, you upgrade to a fourplex, or you upgrade to a sixplex, depending on your bandwidth. That's usually how it works in the United States system. Keep in mind, so the people in the US, they know this, but if you're in Nigeria, understand that if you were to default on your property taxes, the government can actually take that property from you. They will put a lien on that property if you were to default. So just make sure, similar to if you're in the United States buying a home in Nigeria, or if you're in Nigeria buying properties in the United States, Conduct due diligence as well. Make sure that you are buying this property through the right channels. Certified real estate agents in the United States here are very easy to find. They are all over the place. Realtors are everywhere. Majority of them are bonded and licensed. They are not freewheeling like, let's say, most people in Nigeria, where some people will call themselves real estate agents, but they are not really licensed. They are not really certified. So the answer to that question is yes, you can diversify your portfolio. You can also get out of Nigeria and invest abroad. Now, I'm only speaking specific to the United States though. I don't know how the process works in other countries. Each country is going to have their own laws on how foreigners can come into the country and buy and own properties. So just make sure that you check. But the United States is relatively easy for Nigerians back home to come and invest if they choose to. So remember, this is a live Q&A. If you guys have any questions whatsoever on US Nigeria investing, go ahead and post them and I'll address them as I go along in this session. So before we get into some of the questions that I get that I want to cover on this, I want to um, ask you to please like, share, and invite as many people to this podcast. Uh, I would truly, truly appreciate that. All right. So we're going to get into some questions that I've received. And, should I invest in stocks or keep cash in 2026? Actually, it doesn't even have to be just stocks. Should I invest in general or keep cash in the bank in 2026? What is the most the bank is going to give you in APR, in interest rates? You are lucky if you get more than 2% on your savings. You're lucky if you get more than 2%. So instead of banking your cash, you can actually look into a high interest rate savings account. So they offer that here in the United States, depending on the bank. So currently, I have a high interest rate savings account with American Express, and it fluctuates though. I've had it now for about 4 years, but it does fluctuate. I started off at 4.6%, and right now it has dropped to 3.6%. Even at that lower interest rate, it still doubles what a traditional bank is going to pay you. Because when your money is deposited in the bank, guess what the bank does? They actually loan that money out at a much higher interest rate. So you don't want to, I'm not saying don't save. You can still have a little bit of savings if you choose to do that. If you are really, really conservative, you are still kind of dipping your toes into the world of investment. The best advice is to find a banking institution with a high interest rate. Most traditional banks are not going to offer that. So you can look into financial institutions like American Express. They have it. It's called a high yield interest rate. And for first time offers, they usually start at about 4.4% and above. I got in at 4.6, and it would go back and forth. From 4.6, it would drop to 4.2, it would go back to 4.8, and right now it's currently 3.6. Okay. So you can go that route, the high interest rate route, or you can go the equities route, meaning you can invest your funds, your money in US stocks. You can either buy individual dividend stocks through some of the biggest companies and the best companies in the United States. Like Walmart is one. I've beaten this to death. I talk about Walmart all the time. I have stocks with Walmart. I also invest in the S&P 500 index funds through Fidelity Brokerage. You could open a Fidelity Brokerage account for free, and instead of saving putting your money in, let's say, a 1.2, 1.3% uh, savings to a traditional bank, you can literally start banking your money in stocks and index funds. So that is one way that you can invest in 2026. Start training yourself to get away from just putting money in the bank. Just putting money in the bank isn't really going to grow your cash as much as playing the long game by investing in the high yield savings account or investing in US stocks and index funds. Okay. So now, the safest, as far as like the safest long term US investments, I've talked about that. If you are still new, you are still green in equities investments, you can't go wrong with the S&P 500, which tracks the Fortune 500 companies, like some of the top Fortune 500 companies in the United States. So currently, uh, I pay about $240 a month into um, my S&P 500 index funds, and I think Walmart right now is currently trading at $110 per share. So that's a way for you to actually grow your cash and move away from savings accounts. You can still have a little bit in savings for like emergency funds, but you got to start weaning yourself out of that. Weaning yourself out of a traditional savings account into a high yield savings, or even better than that, because right now the S&P is growing at what? At about 10% annually, and it's been growing that way for the past 50 years. This is proven. But just like everything else, you want to do your research. You want to do your research. I'm not a stock advisor. I'm just telling you guys what I am plugged into based on all of the researches that I've done over the years. If you just simply want to just walk away and you don't want to think too much about what you're doing investment wise, as far as like cash goes, just go that route of a high yield savings account. Check with that banking institution. I won't do anything less than 4% though, even though mine has dropped from 4.6 to 3.6 in the past 3 years. I wouldn't go anything less than 4%. Okay. So, how much should I invest monthly in order to build your portfolio? This is not a one size fits all answer. Just look at your bandwidth, look at your capacity. But my recommendation or my advice is, at least, what if you set aside $50 a month? $50 a month. I know some Nigerians in the diaspora who are paying bills for people back home, sending money for people back home to start a business, paying school fees for people, supporting funerals and weddings. So let's say you send $1 million, 1 million naira to back home to help somebody. I know I mentioned earlier that the current exchange rate is about 14.64 to a dollar. In some cases, 14.84, 85 to a dollar. But for the sake of simple arithmetic, let's just say it's 1,500 naira to a dollar. Divide that by 1 million naira. That's roughly about $666 that you are simply dashing people. So living abroad, let's just be honest with ourselves. How many times, let's say in the past 5 years, have you just called up a friend in the United States, or in CJ's case, she's in Canada, and just dashed them $666? That is what most Nigerians are doing. Do you know what you can do with that $666? You could put it in a high yield savings account. So it's all about financial literacy, guys. I'm not trying to force feed people, but I think that investment is just something that is not generally taught. You don't really see a lot of that in Nigerian media. For those who follow Nigerian media as much as I do, it's like the business section of Nigerian media is like hidden. The investment sector is like hidden. What you see, you can't really blame them because that is what is selling advertising, is all of the political unrest in Nigeria right now. But the true source of compounding and the true source of wealth or financial independence, financial security is investing. So ask yourself, when was the last time, if you're based abroad, when was the last time you loaned somebody? Let's not even say dash. Let's say you loaned somebody $666. Most people don't do that in overseas. So let's come a little bit lower. 666,000. Sorry, $666 is a bit much. Let's just say $50, which is an equivalent of 75,000 naira. So still ask yourself, when was the last time, if you're based abroad, that you actually loaned or dashed somebody $50? It sounds small, but $50 is a lot of money. $50 can pay most gas bills. $50 can pay 3 or 4 different streaming apps. So it's not that common for Nigerians abroad to dash people money abroad. But you see it all too often. It may not seem like a lot. $50 may not appear like a lot, but it adds up though. When I look back at my own behavior I'm 47, so from 18 to 30, so on a 12-year time span, I did exactly what I just talked about. I was dashing. I didn't know anything about investments back then. I didn't know anything about compounding back then. I didn't know anything about stocks back then. I was just dashing people money left and right. When I look back and I start doing the math, although I didn't keep track of it, so in that 12-year period, they had me on a monthly rotation. Like I had several people on allowance. This one 200, this one 50, this one 100. Burial, it's me that they came to. Wedding, it's me that they came to. Transportation, it was me that they came to. Yes, granted, I was immature and I wasn't as smart as I am today. But I just kind of look back. It's just one of those things like, man, all that money that I sent home for that 12-year period, had I invested it, even if it was $10,000, I'm 47. I stopped doing it when I was 30 years old. But unconsciously, Nigerians in the diaspora, they do this a lot. My motivation is to start getting Nigerians abroad to start thinking a little bit differently on what they can do. Because think about this for a second, guys. You are going to either have yourself to blame or have yourself to thank when you are older, because it's going to happen. Most of you think that you have time. I remember when I was 25 years old, like yesterday, I'm 47 now. Time flies. And had I invested that money back then into something, into a compounding asset, maybe I'll be in a lot better position today to actually help. Yes, I'm okay. I do okay. But it's not too late. $50 a month, put aside, automate it to go directly on the first of every month towards a stock, towards an index fund. You're not going to think too much about it. You can, everything is automated now. You can program it, is what I do every single month on the first of every month, like clockwork. Funds are deducted out of our checking account into our stock portfolio at the end of every month. Sorry, at the first of every beginning of every month. We actually do the same with our daughters. So our daughters that you see behind me, Jeanette and Lani, we have bank accounts for them. Every month we deposit $20 each. I think the last time that I checked Nelly's bank account, it was like, God damn. Just slowly like that. $20 every. We've been putting $20 in Jeanette's account since she was born. She's 7 years old. And we get the statements every month. That is going to go towards her college funds when they turn 18. It's not going to cover the entire thing, but at least it's something. I'm not saying don't care for people back home. I'm not saying that. But you got to reduce and minimize it in 2026. Just, I want to challenge you in 2026. Just commit the year of 2026 into looking after yourself. Commit the year of 2026 and start making this little adjustments. Little adjustments in terms of setting aside. If $50 is too much for you to set aside in a high yield savings account or towards your stocks, maybe you can do 20. Start with $20 a month. It's not too late. You see, I wish when I was going through what I went through from 18 to 30, I wish I had somebody like me. I mean, the YouTube today is more advanced than it was 17 years ago. But I wish I had someone like me to teach me a little bit about financial literacy and investment literacy. But guess what? You don't have to make the same mistakes that I did. I wasted 12 years. Fast forward now, God knows, and I invested all that waste. And that is also not even including the trips home to Nigeria, where you go home, you sponsor everybody, you feed everybody, you host everybody. I think it's time to start taking financial accountability, financial audit of your life. Because, guys, you are going to need it. You are going to need that financial flexibility and that financial freedom. What is retirement age in the United States now? It's what, 65 years? Most people retire after they've worked their asses off. Most Nigerians are actually literally breaking their backs abroad working. But you retire at 65, you bank in or you cash in your social security and your pension. Let's say you walk away with $5,000 every month, depending on your career. And then you have an additional $5,000 every month that you're generating from your investments. I mean, is that not a good life for yourself? You have grandkids. You choose, hey, you know what? I want to stay in Nigeria for 2 months. I want to go and visit my grandchildren for 2. You're not dependent on anybody. You're financially comfortable. Unfortunately, and I know this may not be what you want to hear, but many Nigerians abroad are not financially comfortable. Some of them are too late in life. And I know I mentioned earlier that it's not too late to start. But some of them are too late in life to do anything. But at the same time, regardless of their age, some are still doing it. They are still going home. There's a 72-year-old. No, he's actually more than 72. He must be maybe in his late 70s or maybe even early 80s. He just recently went to Nigeria just to build a house in the village for him to be buried in. I don't really see that as, I mean, so you put up a house. What is the most you have? I'm not saying he's not going to live longer than, but let's just say you give him 10 years. You are going just to build a house for you to be buried in. You see, guys, that is not an investment. Going to Nigeria to build a house simply for you to have a burial ground, to me, is not an investment. But better that than what? Being buried abroad. Not saying that there's anything wrong with being buried abroad. You can still do that. But, that's his choice. That's what he's doing right now. So he's not even thinking from an investment standpoint. He just wants to go and erect a property so when he dies, his children can actually take him home and bury him in the garage or something. I don't really know what that's all about, but anyway, that is what he's doing. So, what are the best passive income investments in America? So we're talking US, Nigeria investing here. Stocks, to me, in my own humble, honest opinion, stocks and index funds are the two best investments that you can make, that you can invest in the United States. Because you don't have to worry about dealing with tenants headache if you want to go if you want to do real estate. And let's say you want to invest in consumer goods, which we are going to get into. You don't have to deal with customers. You see, the growth for us, our growth engine for our family, for my family, is stocks and index funds. That is our growth engine. Everything that we make, like a couple of weeks ago, I just had an extra $1,000, just unplanned $1,000. Just go, okay, fine. I'm just going to take this. I'm just going to throw it into our index fund. That is what we are hedging our future on. Because you can actually live off of your dividends. So let's say you have $1 million in stocks and index funds, $2 million. And so, look, guys, you think $1 million is a lot. It's actually possible. You can live off of that for the rest of your life. All you got to do is just wake up, exercise, hang out, go to bed. You can live off of your dividends. You don't have to deal with property headaches, things being damaged, having to fix this, having to fix that, dealing with tenants. So the best passive income, ask anybody, is always going to be in stocks and index funds. I'm talking about the United States. Now, I can't say the same for Nigeria, though, because the Nigerian equities market is not as strong as the United States equities market. So this is some of the questions that's also dominating the internet. Is Nigeria still safe for investment? I've answered this numerous occasions. Nigeria is, put it this way, Nigeria is actually high risk, high reward. It is safe though. The United States is a little bit different. It's a legacy environment. You are not going to get the kind of returns in the US that you will get in Nigeria. But the US is also a very, very low risk. It's a proven system. Nigeria is still trying to figure out itself. But here's the thing, the rule of thumb is always this. Don't invest more than you can afford to lose. A good indication is the unseen, unimaginable return on investments that most people are going to be promising you in Nigeria. All you got to do is buy this land for 10 million naira. And in 2 years, that land is going to be 50 million naira. See, that is not realistic. So you just got to measure your investments, for those who are investing back home in Nigeria, measure it carefully. Anything that is too good to be true, that seems too good to be true, that's generally the case. But compared to, I mean, what is the alternative? Let's say you want to compare Niger to Niger or Niger to all of this Sahel region, all of this code it's had. I would not do anything in those areas. Some of you are watching from abroad, you are thinking, oh, where can I invest in Africa? You see, the Sahel region, that central area where you have Niger, you have Chad, you have Mali, the very, very prone to like dictatorship. You want to stay away from that Sahel area, Sahel. Do your research and look into it. But in terms of sub-Saharan Africa, West Africa, Nigeria is a great place for you to invest. Ghana is actually pretty good. Cameroon is relatively safe to invest as well. Botswana is actually popping right now, guys. Yes, Botswana is landlocked. It's not a coastal country like Nigeria. But Botswana is actually developing right now. Kenya is also a good place for you to look into. Rwanda is a country in Africa that you actually want to pay attention to as well. Okay, so if you're abroad, you don't want to limit yourself to just Nigeria. I mean, go expand yourself. I mean, American celebrities are currently investing in Kenya at the moment, buying farmland in Kenya and building an investment portfolio. So Nigeria is not the end or be all. Yes, I am advancing Nigerian enterprise. I want more investors in Nigeria. But Nigeria is not really it's not the end all be all. You can look into other sub-Saharan countries. South Africa. Lots of Nigerians in South Africa. Lots of investments going on in South Africa. So yeah, those are some of the places in Nigeria in Africa that you can look into investing. So which sectors in Nigeria we will grow the fastest? Consumable sector, food sector, agricultural sector. It's a challenging environment right now, though, because of all of the uneasiness and the unrest that's going on right now. So there are certain parts of Nigeria right now that I would say it's a bit more challenging than others in terms of agriculture. But you can look into like the south part of Nigeria, the southeast part of Nigeria. Food is a good place to invest. This is something, it's a consumable. People are going to buy, people need to eat, particularly Nigerians in the diaspora. They crave that cultural cuisine. Okay. I know that there's a lot going on right now in the energy sector. There was actually a summit last month talking about an Akwa Ibom state called Ibom, is it the Ibom Power Summit or Ibom Energy Summit? But the thing with that is that actually requires, it's a very capital intensive sector. So generally, the state government is looking more into like foreign investors to come in with the capital and the expertise in energy to help build grids, to help maintain energy grid. You see, going and buying generator and exporting generator from China to Nigeria, that is actually old school. To be quite frank, Nigeria is actually moving away from that and more into renewable energy right now with solar. Like in Akwa Ibom State right now in Uyo, most of the estates don't even allow, they will not allow homeowners to have a generator. So that generator market is actually going away. And what is taking its place right now are solar panels, like high wattage solar panels. There's a lot of that going on right now. The Chinese are all over the place because the majority of the solar panels and the solar energy in the world is manufactured in China. So could you import? Yeah, you're not going to be able to manufacture battery solar cells in Nigeria. You're not going to be able to do that. But could you be one of those that imports um, power banks, solar panels from China to Nigeria? I mean, if it's of high quality, I think people are going to buy. Um, I mean, energy, but more on a smaller scale, though. When you look at energy, you want to invest in importing solar power, or maybe even you want to become a distributor, but you got to work with a brand, a known high quality brand in China, and then maybe strike a deal with them to become their sole distributor in Nigeria. It's something that I actually looked into about 4 years ago. I had a meeting, but that just did not materialize. And then I ended up moving. I moved away from. But solar is actually needed, Sha, in Nigeria. I mean, I have about 17 solar street lights right now in my village. I had it installed about in 2022, late 2022, early 2023. So street solar panels are becoming more and more popular, particularly in the rural areas of Nigeria. So for the smaller players, that is a that is an angle or pathway to be able to enter the energy space and see if you like it. But as far as like going and building energy grids and those, that's like for more of like the major players is what they do. But if your capacity sustains it and you're able to find partners, maybe look into attending the Boom Power Summit next year. This is the inaugural one that they did this last month. So I don't know if it's something that they are going to continue, but I got some information on that EBOM summit. And the majority of the people there that were exhibiting and submitting proposals were like higher capital companies from like India. Those are the guys with like what a minimum of $10 million to spend on energy. And the states are working directly with them. But in your case, if you don't have the capital, you can just go to direct the direct to consumer route. Look into importing solar panels and selling it directly to consumers in Nigeria, or maybe partnering with some distributors in Nigeria that will help you distribute your solar panels. Like Chinese companies are doing that right now because they don't really know the consumer market in Nigeria. All they know is that 230 million people don't have 24 hours of energy per day. So they're able to capitalize on that massive population by dealing directly with Nigerian distributors. They will manufacture and then just sell to distributors. So that's a way that you can actually uh, penetrate that energy space that's not dependent on the national grid. Okay. So let's talk. Is buying land still worth it in Nigeria today? Yes, it is. But remember, not all lands, though, are profitable. You see, a land in a place like Niger State, not Niger. Niger is a country. Niger, I'm talking about Niger State, Nigeria. A land there is not really worth much because of the unrest in Niger State. But a land in, let's say, Ogun State, Lagos State, or Lagos is actually running out of land now, to be quite honest with you. In terms of land mass, Lagos is actually a tiny state, only 3,800 square kilometers. That's Lagos for you. So a lot of people are not really. I mean, there are lands available in Lagos right now, but you're talking about like inland. towards that west side. Ibejuleki, I've spoken about this. I know some people are out there still saying that there's land in Ibejuleki. The last time that people actually uh, offered or have seen at least a legitimate land in Ibejuleki was like 2 years ago or a year and a half ago. Right now, the expansion is more into the Oyo State, Ogun State, Osun State. So for you to find raw land, just available raw land in a place like Lagos State is I would be careful because that land is probably in contention. What people do now actually is they buy an existing building and then they tear it down and they build their own property on the existing building. But land is still worth it depending on where you're buying though. So you're gonna have dry land, you're gonna have swampy land that's worth a little bit less, actually a lot less than dry land. You gotta factor all of this in. I mean, I own land, I own a swamp land that currently I don't even know what to do with it. It's positioned on the near the main road though, but it's a swamp land, so I can't really put a structure there unless I backfill it, and that's gonna cost millions. Or you got to find out, let's say you own swamp land, what is suitable in a swampy environment. Look into planting bamboo. You can't do crops really. You can't cultivate all palm trees on a swamp land. You can't cultivate cassava there. You can't cultivate corn. So swamp land is very limited. The crops you can actually put there is very limited. If anything, you can go the bamboo route. Nigeria they're building left and right. And people need bamboo for scaffolding. But if you are better off buying swamp land though in a choice location than you are buying dry land deep in the bush. So these are things that you got to things that you got to factor in when you are making your purchasing decisions. So yeah, yes, I did buy swamp land, but it's near a major road that's being constructed, has been actually being built right now. So land is always a safe investment, but still it's also a buy and hold investment though. Some of you're probably thinking, I'm going to buy land in 2026 and sell it in 2027. It doesn't work like that. If you buy land in 2026, expect to hold it for at least 5 to 7 years. 7 years is usually the time that you should start looking into getting the land reappraised to sell. At the very minimum, I'll give you 5 years. But if you think you're just going to go and buy land today, this 2026, and then by 2027, you're going to double your investments, it's not going to happen. So you always think of a 5-year roll, just similar to 5-year hold, not 5-year old. Just like stocks and index funds, guys. Land acquisition is also a long-term play. Start getting out of that short-term investment recouping. Stay in it for 5 years. Buy land today for $2,000. I don't know if that land is going to quadruple or triple, but I can guarantee you by year 5, more than likely that land is going to double. So land is always a safe investment. And also for those abroad who just want more of a hands-off thing, land is good, but just make sure that the land is surveyed, even if the land is in the village. Make sure that it's surveyed and registered with the appropriate agencies to protect yourself. Well, Rich, should I fence it? You don't need to fence your land. Your survey is your fence. But you gotta have that in place. You can't have the survey be a traditional survey where they'll tell you, okay, you see where that tree is, that's where the land, that's where the boundary is. Oh, you see that other tree there, that's where the boundary is. Oh, you see this tree here, that's where these Omonile people, that's usually what they do. Because the majority of the Omonile landowners don't really have that land surveyed. They're just going to point to different landmarks and tell you, this is my boundary, that's my boundary. But before you do anything, okay, fine. You're telling me that that's your boundary. Okay, not a problem. I'm going to bring in a surveyor to do a preliminary survey. Do you know that that's possible? If you're interested in land that does not have documentation, the number one documentation you need on the property is the survey and the deed of ownership. 100% of the time, the deed of ownership is going to include a certified survey. But let's just say you have someone selling you an Omonini land. Okay, yes, the land is in the family. You know them, you know the family, but still, you want to bring in a surveyor to do a preliminary survey for a small fee. You see, the preliminary survey is not the actual survey, but at least it will give you a range of the square of the size of the land. It's usually give or take 500 square meter differential. So you are not going to get the actual accurate land size until a real survey is done with beacon stones. But you can bring in a preliminary surveyor early on. You see, right now you don't want to include an attorney. Once that preliminary surveyor comes in, they'll survey the land for a small fee. So generally, let's say if your land, if a normal survey is about 200,000 naira, a surveyor is just going to come in and just give you a preliminary sketch of that land for maybe about 50,000 naira. For you to have an idea of what you're getting into, and also for you to actually know the land size, because that's what's going to determine how much you're actually going to offer for that land. Because most of them don't know. Okay. So the preliminary survey comes in, does a preliminary survey. You make the offer that you want to purchase the land. Then you can go and actually do a full survey. Okay. But for people who actually already have the survey in place, most homeowners in choice markets, or most landowners will actually have a survey that's already in place. Never ever take a survey at face value, ever. You are still going to need a certified licensed surveyor to verify that documentation. Okay, fine. So you have a land for sale, you're giving me the documentation. How much is it going to cost you? Wouldn't you rather invest 50,000 naira and go and get a land survey? Not survey, but a survey verified. See, some of you, you put emotions in place when it comes to investments. You see, when I was in the army, they're still saying in the army, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. When you're dealing with Nigeria, you got to be measured. You got to be measured. Nigeria is one of the easiest place for people to pull a wool over your eyes. Just remember what I said. Slow is smooth and smooth is fast. It's about minimizing risk and minimizing your mistakes. So someone comes in with a documentation and they're saying that they own that land. Again, it also depends on where though. I've told you guys before, I'm not playing in Abuja. I'm sorry. To me, Abuja is just too risky. I much prefer Lagos and Akwa Ibom State. But you still need to have that documentation verified. If it's a owner seller, if you're buying the land through a real estate development company, you are okay. Because those guys already have the documentation in place. You are okay. You don't necessarily need to get another surveyor in place because the property is already surveyed. There are attorneys behind the purchasing of that land. Or you can just do, if you want peace of mind, buy directly through a real estate development company. You are fine. But if you are going through an owner seller with survey, you see, trust but verify. Oh yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate this survey. I'm just gonna have my team look through it. Find a surveyor that's local to that state. If you're buying a land in Lagos, don't go and hire a surveyor in Akwa Ibom. Find a surveyor that's local, that knows Lagos. Pay them that extra 50,000 naira fee or what have you. They can do a land verification for you and have results for you within 48 hours. And if the land checks out, then you can maybe include an attorney to draft the bill of sale, transferring the ownership of that land from that landowner to you. So this is when you actually get an attorney involved. Once you have verified that the land actually belongs to the person selling it to you, and once you verify that the land is not under contention and there are like 50 other people don't own that land, then and only then can you pay a small fee and get an attorney involved to draw the bill of sale. You always want to have a paper trail when you're investing in Nigeria. You always want to have a paper trail. Don't do anything by handwriting. Somebody comes and then they'll take their hand and then they'll write a bill of sale. You want it to be officialized. An attorney can do that for you. They'll stamp it. They'll do the transfer of ownership to your name. You don't necessarily even have to get the land resurveyed again. You don't have to. You can keep the original survey, but just do the transfer of ownership into your name and then get that land immediately registered and keep your documentation. Some of you are actually having people back home buy for you. That's fine. They can buy your land for you under your name and they can do everything locally. You don't even have to set foot in Nigeria, my diaspora audience. Everything can be done for you in Nigeria, and your documentation can be DHL'd to you in the US, so you can rest easy. All through that slow is smooth, and smooth is fast process. You see, investing in Nigeria is as easy or as risky as you want it to be. Okay. So let's do this. I'm going to continue, but let me address some of these questions before I go in. All right, CJ, you can make property tax part of your mortgage. Yes, you can. So let me give you an example. It depends on the region. Like in some places when you buy, especially in the United States, you have what is called like homeowners association. And also depending on the age of the property, a lot of like older properties don't really have property. You're talking about property tax. I'm talking about property management. I'm talking about something else. But yeah, you can make property tax part of your mortgage. Yes, but it's a percentage though. Depending on the age of the house or the cost of the house. Like our own property tax is only about what $400 a year is what we pay. But our property is 6,500 uh 6,500 square foot. Yeah. But yeah, you can, but it just has to be itemized though. It's going to show you this is how much you are paying for your mortgage. Your mortgage is actually separate from the property tax. So that way you know how much your property tax is every year. And also it fluctuates. Can Nigerians invest in S&P 500? Nigerians back home can actually, yes, you can invest in the S&P 500. But remember, you got to go through a brokerage firm. Like, for instance, the Fidelity. I use Fidelity, right? All they really want to care about is how are you funding your stocks and index funds. You can sit in Nigeria and open a US brokerage account, and then you buy your stocks and index funds with USD. You can't buy them in Naira. So you got to figure out a way to actually convert Naira into dollars, transfer the dollars into but you got to fund your stocks. So you got to transfer it into the portfolio itself and then draw from there to fund your stocks. But you can do that anywhere in the world. You just need to have the account. Sorry, the brokerage account. I remember Fidelity is not the be all end all though. There are other, I mean, there's Charles Schwab, there's Vanguard. There's just so many of them. Just Google search brokerage companies to buy stocks in the United States, and you'll see them. But we just use Fidelity. I use Fidelity because that was what's available to me. Could I have gone with Vanguard? Could I have gone with Charles Schwab? I could have. But Fidelity is also not a very trustworthy brokerage firm that's been around for a long time. It's only Mumu man or woman that will not invest in Nigeria. Well, that Mumuna dumb now. But I see what you're saying. Sometimes a lot of people don't invest because they just don't know. They just don't know who to turn to. And they also don't have that investment mindset. Because if you think about it, majority of Nigerians just remit. They don't even know, even in the United States here, those based abroad don't really know that there's that investment opportunity for them back home. But like Laja said, even if it's on a small scale, just start getting into the habit of owning assets in Nigeria. I mentioned you can get into land banking. If you just want more of a hands off, you don't want to deal with it, you want to have an investment presence back home, you want to get into land banking and then see what happens after 5 years. And maybe you buy the land for, just putting a figure out there, you buy the land for 5 million naira, and maybe after year 3 or year 4, you start talking to your agents in Nigeria to start appraising that land for sale. And maybe by the 5th year, you're able to double that investment from 5 million to 10 million. Just take that 10 million and go and buy a 10 million naira land. Instead of buying small Omolile type land, just take that 10 million. So that's how you compound. That's what you're essentially doing is you are trading up. Is what people do in the United States. You trade up from, let's say, a 4-plex to an 8-plex. You trade up from an 8-plex to a building of 12 units. It's the same concept. But the moment you plant that seed of investment in Nigeria, it's going to change how you see money. Because when you start seeing your money grow, it's growing. Why would you not want to do more? So my cousin, the one that put me on the Bejuleki property, he has since expanded. He's based in New Jersey. He has since expanded his investment portfolio out of Lagos, and now he's in Akwa Ibom State. That is the beauty of investment. And like I said, guys, even if your investment pays for your travel, your trip home to Nigeria every year or every other year, is that not something? Can remittances do that for you? So it's about getting into that mindset. Okay. And another thing, too, that makes a lot of people, and I've touched on this in the past, is that element of trust. Most foreigners and most Nigerians in the diaspora don't really have people to trust back home. But that is largely solved now these days. Yeah, I mean, the information is out there. You don't have to go through family members anymore to do anything in Nigeria. Some people actually avoid that altogether. Before you know what's happening, you've built a house and your family members don't know. That is the new wave. People are starting to like literally keep family. I'm not saying don't love your family. Love your family. Go if you want to do a one bear for them and you want to do a carnival, you can go and do that. But your investment should be independent of that. Do you know you can buy a house in Nigeria without the involvement of family members today? Like literally. The days of saying, sending your sister, go and check. Sending your brother, go and check. Listen, I have a colleague right now in Virginia. He built a house. He is currently building an 18 units apartment complex. And his younger brother is like, how dare you? I'm not involved. You don't involve me in anything. This and that, that and this. The guy in Virginia said, had I involved you, I won't have my house and I won't have this 18 unit property that I'm building right now. It's just the way it is. People are just not, I mean, there's nothing wrong. He doesn't hate his brother, but he just understands that when it comes to investments and when it comes to business, you want to really minimize the role that family members play because they operate more from emotions. Hire professionals. I've talked about this before. There are contractors right now back home, and they specialize in diaspora only projects because they understand the diaspora sentiments, they understand diaspora expectations. That's what most of them are doing right now. They just focus on diaspora projects. Another thing they will advise you is not getting family members involved because the family member is going to come in and start bad mouthing the contractor just to try and get you and the contractor to clash. But do you know that there are professionals out there in project management who can actually oversee your contractors that are not family members? They are there. If you don't want to 100% bank on a contractor, here's another advice I want to give you guys. You see, your contractor cannot also be your project manager because there's no checks and balances. I'm speaking directly to people right now who are building back home. Your contractor can't be your PM. That's like the fox guarding the hen house. That's why you got to have structures in place. If you've decided to commit to building in Nigeria, You have to 100% have an independent project manager that oversees the work of the contractor. Well, Rich, who does the contractor reports to then in that case? Does the contractor reports to me, the developer? You see, you abroad, that's for funding. You see, you are the developer. So, Rich, does the contractor then reports to me? Or does the contractor reports to the PM? The contractor reports to you, the developer abroad. And so does the project manager. The project manager and the contractor are basically partners on your project. Their objective in life is to save you money and give you the exact thing that you're paying for. The PM is not there to supervise the contractor. Remember that. Because you got to give the contractor a little bit of trust the contractor. Obviously, before you hire them, you've done research, you've seen what they've done in the past. You see, contractors value that. But it's good for them to know that there's another person that works for you that can come in and out of that site. Not to be reporting them, not to be, you see, it's that checks and balances that I'm talking about. And the best relationship ever is if the contractor and the PM have a good working relationship. They understand each other. Because the contractor is doing his job in building your project. And then the PM is ensuring that the contractor has an enabling an enabling environment. You see, the PM is essentially you in Nigeria. The PM is essentially is your rep, your representative in Nigeria. And a smart contractor will understand this, that the PM represents you. Because you can't be abroad managing projects in Nigeria. So anytime that contractor sees the PM, he sees you. So if you are trying to cut corners and save money, and then you are depending on the project manager the contractor to also become the PM, there's always going to be the conflict of interest. But you got to establish this though from the get-go. It's not the PM's job to be snooping in and out and reporting the contractor. You got to establish this early on, especially with the contractor. The PM is my eyes and ears. When you see the project manager on site, you see me. That respect. But PM no fit be your brother. Oh. You can't hire your brother that doesn't know anything about construction project management to then go and become a PM. The job of a project manager in a Nigerian construction site is to give the contractor an enabling environment to do their job. Simple as that. Same as you. If you are building from abroad, you got to give the contractor an enabling environment to do their job. You got to make sure that everything that they ask for is available to them. One major thing that most Nigerian developers don't factor in when they're building back home is the availability of water. That is why once you've decided to build on a land, the first thing that you put there before you do anything else, you got to drill a borehole. You got to drill a borehole because the builders are going to need that water source to be able to mix their cement and what do you call it? Um, do their foundation. The workers, they have to have water to drink. Some of them even bathe there. Before you build anything in Nigeria, you gotta have borehole factored in first. Even before the fencing itself. You have borehole first, maybe fencing. Maybe as you are building, you're also building a fence around your property because you're going to need it, especially now that you are building. You see, you don't want an open source property in Nigeria, guys. Open source just means, you walk in. America is different now. America, most people don't even have fence, depending on where they are. But Nigeria is a little bit different. You have to think about fencing and you have to think about a water source. Part of your job is to make sure that the contractors have an enabling environment. And you make sure that you have a contractor and a PM that get along. Because if your contractor and your PM don't get along, there's going to be problems. And in order for you to become a good construction project manager, guys, you got to have good communication skills. You just got to understand your role. You want to build rapport. I'm speaking directly to PMs now. PMs who are working with contractors on site in Nigeria for a client abroad. You got to build rapport. And same goes for the contractor too. You got to build rapport. Because at the end of the day, we all have a common goal. You want to be able to produce the best results for your clients abroad. Okay. So let's look at Nigeria is no longer a place you can go to blow 10K to 20K doing Faji. That 20K is the solid investment capital. You mean 20,000 naira or $20,000? Let's just say it's 20,000 naira. You know that 20,000 naira is 2 bags of cement. If it's 10 to 20,000, listen, guys, it goes a long way. It's what I'm trying to tell you guys. A bag of cement right now is about 10,000. Who knows? 10,000, 10,500, maybe 11,000 at the most. That is easily suya money to someone that doesn't appreciate or know the value money. So if you start thinking like that, this 50K I they give you, so you see, that's the way me I think. Man, you that you are asking for 50K, it's not automatically as an investor in Nigeria with a project. I'm already thinking, man, that's 5 bags of cement. Do you know how far 5 bags of cement will take you? A trip of sand right now in Nigeria is what? Depending on where you are, 40,000 naira per truck for sharp sand. Do you know how many blocks you can mold with a trip of truck, with a trip of sharp sand? A trip of granite chippings, rocks in Nigeria right now is about what, 200,000 naira. Do you know that you can build a solid foundation with that much? That changes how you think of money. Whether you want to go and invest or you want to go and give it away, like he's talking about. These things add up. From housing, farming, to even training private security. So private security business is booming for all you former military and police officers in the UK, US, or Canada. You see me, I'm former military now, but I'm not doing private security. You see, the thing about Nigeria is, okay, to run a private security company, you need arms now. You got to have guns, you got to have ammunition, you got to have training. In a country that has strict weapons law, I'm not going to say the G word again, but in a country like Nigeria that has a strict weapons law, where are these private security companies? Like, where are they getting their arms? Where are they getting their training? They exist. Private securities exist, but I don't know too many of them. And you can't just carry firearms. I think I can say firearms. You can't carry fire. A regular Niger citizen can't walk around with firearms. It's illegal. So, is a private security company? How are they going to arm themselves to protect you? And I don't know. Maybe you can go and be an advisor. I've been long gone from the military, so maybe you can go and be an advisor. But the private security thing. Do you know anybody in that space? Abuja is a no-no. Stay away from Abuja if you don't have the connects with the current government. Even what is his name? Obasanjo has problems in Abuja. A whole former president and former general, head of state, has problems with Abuja real estate investment right now. But other sectors, though, are okay. It's just when it comes to housing and land in Abuja, I know a lot of people are singing Abuja's praises right now. Everyone is trying to do things there. But I don't really trust that place. I mean, you see Wike is just going up and down, fighting civilians for their lands, trying to collect. People don't know what is government land anymore. They don't know what's civilian land. Abuja is just a high risk uh, place to do business. And put it this way, if the former president of Nigeria has land issues in Abuja, what chances do you have as a regular citizen? So it's just a very high risk. My mom lives in Abuja. My mom owns a school in Abuja, in that Jikoyi area. For those in Abuja who know Jikoyi, that's what my mom is. My mom owns a school there. And I remember, man, she used to have issues. They would come, they would try and disrupt her. There was a time that she shut the school down for quite a while because of some government issues that have since been resolved, though. But it was just always one thing after the other with Abuja and the school that she owns. And then that's another investment too, guys. So education. A private school in Nigeria right now, depending on the location, you can't go wrong. Public schools, forget it. People are not really doing anything. Nigerian parents want to educate their children in private schools because that's the only place that they are going to get quality education for their kids. So if you have a small property and you are in the tutoring, you are in the education space, like for instance, kids, we can go to Nigeria and actually build a private school right now. Because she's been an educator for 13 years and she teaches a very specific subject, a calculus. So she's a mathematician. Even if we just go to Nigeria today and open a math school, no English, no nothing, no science, just mathematics. Everybody needs mathematics. So you can do something like that. My mom's school is more of a generalist school, though. Primary, nursery is what my mom does in Abuja. But if you want to really be specific, and I think that's probably where some of the opportunity is, guys. If you can, and again, you don't need much to start a tutoring company or a school in Nigeria. A small building with 2 or 3 classes. And maybe you just teach specifics, like specific subjects. Like STEM is big now. AI. Laja said private security business. If you know coding, you know how to write programming languages like C++ and C# and Python and Java. Is Java and Python not like the main programming languages for like mobile phones? You don't need a big building to do that. For Nigerians abroad who are looking for something to do, most of you are not leveraging what you know. You are not leveraging your skill set. You see, investments doesn't always have to be land, stocks. It doesn't. You can provide a service, a training service, an educational service. You can go and teach programming in Niger. You can go and teach mathematics in Niger. And even some people that are in maybe reading and writing. You can go and teach reading and writing simply for kids, in even some adults self. Don't they need to be able to learn how to read and how to write and how to measure? I'll give you a story. So when I used to do, how do I put this? I don't want to sound a little bit, I don't want to sound insensitive. But okay. Someone reached out to me for consulting. And they wanted to, I'm not going to mention the sector, and they wanted to do something, a business. A business that requires you to be sharp on basic math. A business that requires you to be able to measure things. So if a client comes to you and say, what size is that building? Or what size is that thing? Or what does that thing weigh? You should know this at the basic level. Unfortunately, this client didn't know what length times width times height was. Because in the consulting set, and I felt bad too, like, man, this person is paying me for this. And I felt a little bit bad because during that consultation process, I had asked for them to measure something. This is exactly what they were trying to do. And the person couldn't do it. And like, what is the length of this item? What is the width of this item? What is the height of this item? The person didn't know. So you know what I did? I got on a FaceTime video call because they were struggling to give me what I want. So I had to get on a FaceTime video call with them to coach them on how to, I don't have a tape measure here, to coach them on how to measure length, width, and height. This is an adult. There's also opportunity in adult education, basic adult education. Unfortunately, there are people like that. Marketplace people. Tell me the last time you went to a Nigerian marketplace and weighed something. I struggle with that. When I'm buying something in bulk, okay, I'll give you an example. I have cattle in Uyo right now, and I wanted to supplement the feed from grass to grains. The person that was selling the grain couldn't even give me the weight of the bag that they are selling. How am I supposed to know what I'm paying for per kilo? Ah, bros, we know the measure here. Oh. Bros, we know the weigh here. Oh. Now just with, okay, we call them big bag, small bag, medium bag. So if I say, give me big bag, they will load the feed until where they can't load it anymore. and then they'll sell it. So me, I'm trying to buy something and I don't even know the weight of the item that I'm buying. So I can divide that weight by how much I'm spending to see how much I'm spending per kilo. That same thing also happens when I'm buying anything bulk. Nigerians don't weigh. I understand that changing how people think and changing behaviors is one of the most difficult things to do. But there's also an opportunity there. Maybe you can start a business training farmers on how to weigh items. And that even benefits them. So instead of them just saying, okay, crayfish, 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 you can help them weigh it. So they know, okay, they are selling 1 ounce crayfish. Won't that benefit that farmer or that seller? Most Nigerians are also underbanked. If you're in the financial sector, again, adoption is going to be a problem though, because how are you going to convince people that have been doing the same thing for 50 years to change their mind? So, pay an insider. Pay an insider in the local government council for verification. Yep. So when you mentioned that you want to keep the professionals that you hire, just always make sure that they are in that state that you are working. It makes no sense for you to go and hire somebody in Abuja to be working project documentation for you in Lagos. Yes, I agree. Extra 100K. Why pay 70 million for property or land, but you cannot pay 200K to verify? That's true. Not juju be that. Okay, okay. Look at the mumus from Chicago that bought land on an already allocated Lagos Calabar coastal road. None of them actually verified by the local government. You see, it's that Omonile land that I'm talking about, guys. I mean, this people are literally, when you have an opportunity like that, you're also gonna have people that want to take advantage. Because the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway right now is one of the biggest projects in Nigeria. Maybe I'll probably call it the second biggest to Dangote, to what Dangote is doing with his refinery. So with that, you're going to have people coming out of the shadows trying to sell you land along the along the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. Just do your verification. Make sure that you are buying from legitimate sources. Like I said earlier, and like Elijah confirmed, you want to. I will make payments. Hold on, who's this person? Sorry, I do business here, man. So this person, this is a consultations, a 1 hour consultation that I'm doing with this person. Okay. All right. I'll get back to him. Yes. So where was I? Be careful of the what do you call it? Of purchasing lands that are tied to the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. Just be careful with that. Okay, so money can move mountains for you in Nigeria. On this one, Rich, I agree, except the airports that I will not pay. Look, you will pay. Now, Muritala Mohammed, they don't charge, what do you call it? Airport fee for like boat drivers. But Victor Atta Airport in Uyo, you will pay 200 to enter and you will pay 200 to leave. I don't understand it. And not cash, because it's not automated. So that money that, imagine that person standing there. Do you really think that person is actually reporting how much they're collecting? They just give it some small cheap receipts. Maybe that's the way for them to track it. But Yes, depending on where you go, you are going to pay. Does anybody know if Enugu charges for airport access or not? I know Victor Atta Airport does. I know Lagos Murtala Mohammed. The few times that well, not a few times, I traveled every year and I've passed through Lagos. They don't, they're not going to, they don't charge you a fee at the Murtala Mohammed airports. But in Akwa Ibom State, they do. You see, the Elijah, this Chicago buyers now, it's a damn shame though. It's a damn shame because there's this lady that ran a consortium for diaspora investors. They lost their property along the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway in that landmark Lagos area. And I think the case is in court right now. And I know that the Nigerian government is going to reimburse them, but it's not going to be for the true value. So unfortunately, guys, Nigerians abroad are really investing back home. And these things happen. I mean, this is probably going to be like a once in a lifetime matter. That Nigerians abroad are just losing their homes in Nigeria like that. What happened with Landmark and those investors abroad? And that lady that actually puts them to, I should probably reach out to her to see if she wants to talk to her to see what actually happened. She was able to get a bunch of Nigerians together to invest along that Lagos VI area. And then when this Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway matter happened with all the demolishment, those investors were affected. I pay 4K annually. You pay $4,000 annually for property tax? I gotta check our documentation. I know that we pay property tax. I have to check. Maybe I meant 4K. Maybe that's what I meant. But I'll check and get back to you guys on how much we pay. But our mortgage is sweet though, because we bought during the pandemic. So we got a great deal. Our interest rate, 2.9% interest rate. Now it's 5.6%. So this property that I'm sitting at, we are never selling. We will never sell this property. When we move out of this property, I want to live on a ranch. But Kate doesn't want to live on a ranch. But we are going to lease out this property, and then eventually the ownership of it will be transferred to the kids, to Jeanette and Nelly. They're going to be eventual owners of this property once we are done. But yeah, this is going to be our investment engine as well, because we got such a sweet deal. It won't make sense. Right now, this property has appreciated by $100,000 in just 2021 is when we bought it. In just 4 years, it has appreciated $100,000. This property that we have, so we're never ever going to sell. When we do move, like I told you guys before, our ultimate goal is to split our time between Nigeria and the United States. We want to do 6 months in Nigeria, 6 months in the US. But this is after the kids have gone off to college. So Jeanette is 7 years old. She has, she's going to go off to college. So yeah, Jeanette has 11 years. If she goes off to college at 18, and then Nelly is going to go off to college. So once Nelly is out of the house and my wife and I are empty nesters, we go Nigeria, go chill. Our goal is 6 months in Nigeria, 6 months in the US. Maybe we'll just go off, Kate and I will just go off and rent some small 2-bedroom condo somewhere. You understand what I mean? And then rent this property out. We can do Airbnb with this property. We can do long-term rental with this property. But the deal that we got on this property, we are not selling it. Moreover, there's a lot of developments going on around us right now. They're building a new rail line. There's casinos popping up. There's buildings all over. That is driving the value of our property at the moment. So it's not something that we're ever going to sell. But once the kids are off to college and we are empty nesters, we want to split our time between the United States and Nigeria. And to be quite honest with you, with the way things are going, Is probably going to end up being 80% Nigeria and 20% US for us, the way we are going. Because when the girls are on their break from college, we'll just fly them to Nigeria. And then if Kate and I just wants to come to the US, we live in Vegas, let's just come to the US and chill, go to the casino and just kind of have fun. We can just come and spend a month or two. But the way that I see where we are going with our investments is going to honestly be 80% Nigeria and 20% US. But here's the cool thing. All of our systems is going to still be US based. We are still going to be exporting Nigerian goods, buying in Naira and selling in dollars. And then we can just stay in Nigeria easily and transact and exchange dollars into Naira to support our life in Nigeria. We are still going to maintain US systems, but we are going to be living in Nigeria. My wife is already on board with that. And that is why, guys, when you marry, if you are dating a Westerner, before you go further, I beg, make sure, say, Niger did their picture. If you are dating somebody that cannot even eat your food, it's going to be a problem in your marriage. You see, Kate was tearing down Swallow when we were dating. Let me tell you, one of the first things that I did to gauge if she was going to be my wife, I'm talking maybe the second date, I took her to a Nigerian restaurant. Man, we chop fufu. I just kept telling them, bring fufu, bring rice, bring jollof, bring egusi. They just kept bringing, because I wanted her to experience Nigerian cuisine. Man, Kate chop fufu, come out for restaurants. As you chop fufu, just make you, my goodness. The moment she embraced Nigerian food, that was when I know that this one is going to work out. But if you are dating Westerners, all they want to do is eat burger and rice. And then, okay, yesterday now, CJ, I cooked afang. I was initially actually thinking about ogbono, like I told you, CJ. But man, the soup got out of my hand. So I transitioned from ogbono to afang. Because initially it was just I just wanted to put swordfish and chicken. And then I remember that I had pomo in the fridge, that had been in the fridge for about a month. When I began to add the pomo inside, I can't add stockfish inside. I can't add chicken. The thing was just grow. I'm like, this one pass of bono now. Let's make this one afang. As soon as she entered, she was like, baby, I smelled the food from the driveway. You see, she loves and enjoys Nigerian swallow. So she picked up Jeanette's friend, a little 7-year-old white girl that has never eaten Nigeria before. Oh, but they get chop swallow too. You see, my two daughters were just, they were bullock now. They were just eating it. And their friend, Marty, 7 years old. That's how the girl just begin to chop Nigeria food too. You see, that is why I know that. You see, me, I introduce Nigerian food to my kids at a very young age. When Jeanette was 6 months old, when she was able to actually eat solids. So we went to the pediatrician, and then, the pediatrician is going to advise you for the first 6 months, she could only eat puree, like soft for mothers, you know what I'm talking about, puree. That's all she could eat. And then after the 6 months mark, they told us, okay, you can start feeding your child solids. I don't remember what I cooked. It must have been a goosey. Because I'm like, me, make my pikin come the chop burger and fries. Man, I just fed her. I started feeding her swallow. And then after we can transition to Gary, I was given a Gary to drink. Same thing with Nelly. When Nelly was able to eat solid, both of my kids, the first solid that entered their mouth is Nigerian food. Today, when I cook, I'm down. You see, Nigerian food is not something that I cook all the time, but when I put it down, not only does my kids enjoy it, my wife also enjoys it. They actually always beg me, Daddy, Daddy, when are you going to make another Nigerian food again? So you gotta have that in place. If you are in a relationship with a Westerner, like don't think that after you marry them they'll change. Make sure. I'm not a relationship expert here. I'm not giving relationship advice. I'm just saying. Make sure that um 1 second. This guy that's asking for my bank account. Let me just make sure that your boyfriend, girlfriend in initial dating stages, make sure that they are comfortable with Nigerian cuisine. Introduce them early on. Take them to a Nigerian restaurant. Introduce them. And also, too, for you Nigerians that are dating Western people from other cultures, you also gotta be welcoming to their own food, though. I'm telling you guys, a family that eats together is a strong family. You got to be able to sit and eat together. If they are already in the dating stage saying Niger food is nasty, saying this is not going to change in the marriage stage. See me, they digress. But you see, that's the cool thing about my platform is just like, man, I can talk to you guys about business, talk to you guys about investment, but I can also talk to you guys about life. So anyway, that is our ultimate objective in Nigeria is we are going to start 50-50. 56 months in Nigeria, 6 months in the US, and then eventually transition to maybe 8% Nigeria, 20% US. But all of our systems is going to be US based in terms of our business, in terms of our finances. It's going to be largely driven and hedged upon the US dollar. Okay. So let's see. Sorry, I digressed there, but let's get back to this. Okay. Rage, the problem is most diasporas focus too much on Lagos and Abuja when the real investment opportunities are in areas like Akwa Ibom, Ibadan, Abeokuta. It is sad. But okay. You still though, larger, you still try as much as you can to have something in Lagos. You see, Abuja, I can't really vouch for. A little bit of Lagos you need for your portfolio. But like he said, you can still go to other markets, developing markets right now. I'm telling you guys, the south part and the southeast part is growing. As you guys can see with this, okay, now that they've locked up Nnamdi Kanu, has Nigeria not, isn't it a little bit cool now? I'm not saying Nnamdi Kanu is the cause of this unrest, but I think that people are moving on. Because no Nigerian that you're going to talk to that's not going to tell you that they don't want peace of mind. So the outbursts that we expected in Nigeria, did you guys not expect that? Oh, there'll be riots, there'll be this. Oh boy, people don't fash you, people don't move on. Isn't that the kind of paying your bills? So let's see what happens in that southeast, south belt from Ogun, Oyo, Oshun, Delta, Imo, all the way through Akwa Ibom, stopping at Akwa Ibom, even Calabar, even Cross River. But the thing is, me, I was born in Lagos. I kind of liken it to if you can have an investment in California, would you not take advantage of it? And if you can also have an investment in New York, would you not take advantage of it? But it doesn't mean that Atlanta, Texas, Colorado, Utah, Nevada, those are still open. Those are great places to actually invest. But if you happen to just have something in Lagos, I'm not saying force it. Don't force what is not there. If it comes naturally, if an opportunity comes naturally for you in Lagos, would you now say, no, I need to do, I won't go do for Abel Kuta? It makes no sense. If it comes naturally, take it, put it in your portfolio, but you can still build in other markets with that's not Lagos and Abuja. But again, me, I won't prioritize like me, our property in Lagos, our land in Lagos. I'm not gonna touch, I don't plan on touching that thing for another 10 years. Because all of our focus right now is in Akwa Ibom State. My goodness, the opportunities in Akwa Ibom. You will only know what I'm talking about when you go to Akwa Ibom State and see what's happening. So when our core focus is in Akwa Ibom right now, Lagos to us is something that's going to just flow naturally for us. But our core market currently in 2025, going on 2026, maybe for the next decade, is going to be Akwa Ibom State. Larger, look, I want you on that panel, man. I want to learn as much as I can from your Airbnb operation in Abeokuta. Why must he be involved? Those who involve their families in their Uber business in Nigeria are still regretting today. Fixing brake pad on brand new cars. They milk the hell out of you. You're trying to help. You're trying to help people by getting them an Uber car. And listen, I always tell people all the time. Put it this way: if you buy a car for your brother to do an Uber business and you are based abroad, like he said, when he has brake issues, it will be you that will be paying for it. When he has problems with the engine, it will be you that they'll come to. So your so-called investment, if you want to call it that, is basically a liability. If you are going to do anything like that for family, and I think that's what's reigning right now, is a lot of Nigerians back home are reaching out to relatives abroad to send them a car to do Uber or to do Bolt. Guys, that is not an investment. If you want to support that way, just consider it dashing them the car and dashing them the money. But you got to draw the line. You see this car that I'm sending you? You don't even have to send them a car from abroad. You can go to a wharf in Lagos and buy a car that's already there for 1 million, 2 million. And just tell them, consider this a gift. Don't come to me for maintenance. Don't come to me for registration. Don't come to me for jack shit. You see, an intelligent brother that you just gifted a car. If he's a good operator, meaning a good business person who understands car maintenance and oil changes and customer service. You see, if that guy now takes that one Corolla that you bought him and he turns that one gift into a fleet of cars after, let's say, 3 years. Okay, if you're watching this, you're in Nigeria, your brother buys you a car. You see, when you get that payment at the end of the month, at the end of the week, or however you guys get paid on your boat day, this thing, instead of you going to the joint, that's when it's time to eat suya now. It's time to drink shayo and all that stuff. If you start thinking of building a fleet of cars around that, so maybe after year 3, you turn one Corolla to 2 Corollas. You drive one, you give person another one. You drive one, you give another person the other one to drive for you. After 3 years, your brother abroad sees that car where I just give to Johnny, he don't turn him into a fleet. Tell me why he won't double down. He said, now this is when the investment part actually comes in, because this guy is now proving himself. But no, a car will turn to Okada. It's like you will gift him a car. The next time you go to Nigeria, he's riding on Okada. What happened to the car now? He couldn't maintain. He couldn't keep it up. And more than likely, he will probably sell that car. This is probably like maybe 90% of Nigerians. He'll probably sell that car and downgrade to an Okada. And then after about a year, he will sell the Okada and downgrade to a bicycle. An Uber business or an Uber gift, don't misinterpret it as an investment. It is not. There are so many variables and factors that makes it virtually impossible for you to grow an Uber business in Nigeria. Number one of them is their Nigerian roads. Let's say the average American car, brand new car off the lot in the United States, lasts you 10 years. Take that same brand new car, put it in Nigerian roads, it will probably last you a year. The petrol that they were selling before Dangote came in and actually started selling quality fuel, did you know that most of the petrol before Dangote came in were adulterated petrols? Why do you think Nigerian car engines always knock left and right? I experienced it myself when I took my Hyundai to Nigeria. I'm like, my Hyundai was just shaking. I've never experienced something like that before. It was because of the poor quality. This was pre-Dangote though. So now that Dangote has started selling PMS in Nigeria, maybe next time, well, my uncle works for Mobile. So my uncle has connections with Mobile, or they sell quality. But every other, maybe NNPC sell quality, NNPC gas stations sell quality petrol too. But I just realized that this petrol that they were selling for some reason just did not gel with my car. So it's like, man, well, good thing for me is I'm only in Nigeria for 10 days to 14 days out of every year. So I kind of manage. But my car still gets me from point A to point B. But occasionally you are driving on the road and then the car will just start. Use a 2012 car that I bought in 2014. So I'm basically the second owner of that vehicle. And I sent it to Nigeria in 2021. Some of my friends monitor. Also, okay, larger, you clarified $20,000. That's a lot of money in Nigeria. So $20,000 right now. Let me just give you an exchange rate of. Let me give you an exchange rate of 1,500. Tell you what you can do with that. 20,000 naira right now in Nigeria is 30. Sorry, $20,000 right now in Nigeria is $30 million. If you have land already, I kid you not, if you already have this is not inclusive of the land. If you already have the land already, you can build a 3-bedroom bungalow in Nigeria for $20,000. I'm talking about foundation to carcass to roofing. It does not include like wiring and appliances and furnishing, but you can literally, with $20,000 right now, 30 million naira, you can erect a 3-bedroom bungalow right now in Nigeria with doors and windows and plaster. Possible. So let's see here. Some of my friends monitor their project sites with live HD cameras. Yes. I showed you guys a sample yesterday now. I do that. I use an app called U-Box. What if the contractor and PM join forces to scam you? I don't think that that's possible because they're independent of each other now. They don't know each other. And also, it's not going anyway, guys. If you guys are building in Akwa Ibom State, come to me. I have a crew. I have a crew. But what is the upside though for? It's not as if you are not doing your own homework. You understand what I mean? So I really don't see how the benefits for the contractor, and especially if they don't know each other, if they're independent of each other, to be in cahoots against the clients. It's not as if you are not. You see, that's why platforms like Barricade exist. So maybe for an additional safety, you can contact somebody like me. If you are in doubt, Rich, I'm building in Lagos, man. I need help verifying something. You see, they're not going to do anything to my crew now. But if you're building in Akwa Ibom, Rich, I need help, or I'm a little bit, I'm concerned about something. You see, my crew is not going to play that game. So if a contractor and a PM are in cahoots, and they're telling you that a trip of sharp sand that's 40 key is 100 key. You can reach out to somebody like me. I'm connected in Lagos, connected in Akwa Ibom State. I can deploy my guys anywhere in Nigeria to go and see what the matter is. And guys, let's just say you catch somebody being dishonest. You see me, that's where I draw the line. When you lie to me and you steal from me, man, I don't give a damn if it's 1 naira. Now my own, no farm. You see, I set these things early on. My team knows. Not only does my team know the way that I roll, I am also very, very close with all of my suppliers. From the person that supplies me sand at least I get 2 of them. From the person that supplies me rods and supplies me chippings. But most people are not going to be as hands-on as me, though. Some of you you trust too much. You've been disconnected from Nigeria for so long. So yeah, maybe a little bit easier for people to kind of take advantage of. But I'm saying by and large, Nigerians are honest. But let's just say you're in a situation where you find a dishonest contractor that's lying to you, or a dishonest PM that's lying to you. Do you know you can fire them on the spot and shut down that operation? It's your land. It's your property. You are the developer. But you got to establish these things at the very, very early stages when you are interviewing your contractor, guys abroad. You see, you got to be firm. I'm not saying yell at them, but just tell them your expectations. Hey, man, I like you a lot. I want to bring you. Okay, I'm just giving you an example on how you deal with contractors and PMs. Hey, you know what? Thank you. I think you're the right contractor for this project. You know, I think we're gonna find success together. You see, you always want to lead with positivity. But I just have a very strict, but I have strict boundaries. And one of my boundaries is I don't want to be lied to, and I don't want you to steal from me. So if I ask you to go and get something from me, or I ask you for a price of something, just give me the exact price of what I'm asking for, because I have people that can also go verify. You see, when you set that expectation and that boundary and that behavior at the very early stages, both with your contractor and your PM, they're gonna know that this guy means business. Some people, you cannot wait until things boil over. You would generally start seeing signals early on. They always show themselves in the form of somebody trying to take advantage. They will be in cahoots with the cement supplier. And this one, if Oga call, tell Oga, say the bag na 12 key. But the bag is actually 10. See, that is why I'm saying that you can't have. Maybe I should do another episode on this. Look, my contractor does not buy my supplies. I'm the one that buys my own supplies. Just tell me how many bags of cement you need and I'll make it available. And also, as you build, you see, my contractor right now, we've been together for 4 years. Sometimes his prices are actually better than mine. You see, that comes with actually building a relationship with your team, because your contractor is going to say, okay, well, I have this, I'm buying this bag of cement for 12K. I'm just giving an example. No, I have a supplier that can give it to us for 10.5 or 11. But something like that takes time to build. But I am the one that actually pays the supply. So for instance, we have it now where my suppliers, like my cement suppliers and my son, because I've built such a relationship with them for so long, all I gotta do is tell them, hey, I need 100 bags of cement on site. How much is it? They'll tell you, okay, have it delivered by tomorrow. Because me, I'm 10 hours, 9 hours ahead. I may not be in a position to pay them right there and then. So I'll just tell them, hey, drop. And they'll just say, sir, we are ready to drop, or should we go? Do we have your okay to go ahead and drop the sand and drop the cement? And then they'll drop the sand, and then they'll send you a picture of the drop. That comes with time. And then I can just, okay, we agreed on this. Okay, I'm buying volume. I know the retail price right now is about 10. I'm just giving an example, 10,500. I'm buying volume right now, and I want that for 10,000. I want it for 10,000. That's what we're gonna do. Bros, hunger they catch up. I mean, I like negotiating with Nigerians though, but that comes with time. And also, you guys that you are always switching up your teams. You're always switching up your contractors. You're always switching up You see, that's why I said earlier, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. Take your time. Build your team brick by brick. Because a strong team is actually going to save you a lot of headache. I remember what I said in past videos. When you're taking bids and quotes, let's say you are shopping around, you always want to stick with the pricing at the middle. So you're going to get a rate that's high, you're going to get a rate that's low. Throw two of those out and stick with the middle. But just know that there are resources out there for you. Nigerians abroad. If you really need it, if you are unsure of how to navigate Nigeria, that is what we are here for as a community. you know. So screen carefully, establish the behaviors that you want early on, and just know, before I got with this contractor, I fired two. Before I got with this current one, because the one that I had, you know what he would do? He would go and dump workers on the site and leave for 2 weeks. This particular contractor that I have, Emmanuel, I mean, yes, he has other projects in Oyo. He's not like, he's not like I'm his own client. I've actually given him business from people in abroad building the Akwa Ibom State. But Emmanuel makes sure that he's always on site. And he knows that I have CCTV camera. And I can be sitting now eating breakfast and monitoring projects that are happening on ground like now in Nigeria if I want to. Guys, let's make 2026 a year of investing in Nigeria, please. I think God beg you. I'm not saying invest with me. I'm just saying invest on yourself. Okay? 2026, please join me. Commit with me. Even if you are just tuning into the channel and you're watching and sharing the videos and you're participating in the chats, the community is there. Is there any other community like this who goes on live with you guys? And when I'm in Nigeria, I'm also going to be doing live content. Any question whatsoever that you have about doing anything in Nigeria, travel, investing, business, problems, so long as it's legal, we can help you. Don't always feel you can love your family, but separate family from investment, separate family from your enterprise. Okay. So let's say people blow that in Nigeria into $20,000. If you're blowing $20,000 in Nigeria in 2 weeks, something is probably wrong with you. Stop reminding me of calculus. I'm sorry. It's part of my family. I deal with it every single day. My aunt owns the biggest primary and secondary school in my hometown. They turned down applications. Yes. She ran a district education department in Maryland before moving home. Yep. It's good. I mean, my mom has been, golly, my mom has had a school now since like 2000. She started now for 26 years. Private school in Abuja. There's opportunity in schools in Nigeria. And again, you don't have to have a big building. You can start with 1 or 2 classes. In Nigeria, people learn things like programming and city planning didactically, so they are often not practice ready. We should start some 1 or 2 year fellowship programs that make people practice ready. Isn't that what you want to do with CJ with your youth program? I thought you were thinking about some sort of like a youth project in Nigeria. Are you considering programming? They have to start, and anyway, even boot camp. You look at a lot of this. US has like programming boot camps. Python boot camp, data science boot camp, mathematics boot camp, coding boot camp, AI boot camp. Like AI prompting is actually becoming more and more popular now. Cybersecurity, but there's so much you can do in Nigeria. Anytime people are always saying, "Oh, what can I do? What can I do?" Listen. Figure out what you are currently doing here in the United States and take it back home. It's as simple as that. If you are a doctor, you can go and teach that. If you are a nurse, you can go and teach something in the healthcare space. I talked about one of my clients that's in the confection space, where she's in Nigeria, trying to, she's setting up an operation, a consultancy to teach restaurateurs how to make ice cream and how to properly store ice cream. Sell your knowledge. US Nigeria investments, I sell that knowledge. US Nigeria exports, I sell that knowledge. Just sell what you know. Why can't they just add the usage fee to your tickets? Charging cash at the airport opens room to corruption. You know, that you actually make a good point, because here's the thing. Again, I don't know the breakdown though, but I'm pretty sure when you buy a plane ticket in the United States, doesn't a percentage of that go towards airport security, airport maintenance, airport development? I think so. It's like I said the other day about the US Highway Trust Fund and the US fuel tax. Every time you buy a gallon of fuel in the US, when you walk into that gas station and you pump fuel, 25% goes towards road development. That is how highways are built and maintained in the US. That's how interstates and roads are built and maintained. You would think, though, in Nigeria, how much right now is the flight from Lagos to Uyo? Is it not about 140,000 naira one way? Couldn't they apply 200 naira into airport tolling, whatever you want to call it? So it doesn't make sense for me. When I saw that, I actually fought it, because I told my driver, I said, don't pay that money. And my driver was like, say, bros, all they're going to do is just delay us. And I'm looking at my time like, man, I got to catch that flight too. Because I didn't quite understand how somebody will sit there at the so-called airport stall and sit there and collect 200 for people going in, 200 for people leaving. You would think Nigeria is at a point now where, like Peter said, just include the app. I'm sure it's in there, but you just know now, this whole thing, there's probably somebody there that's imagine all those people going in and out of that airport every single day. You don't know how much those guys are making. How much still, airport road is still bad in a way. How much are they really making collecting 200? Again, man, that's just Nigeria for you. Please tell them my friend that married a Mexican, him and wife just born the 5th Peking. Okay, good for them. Congratulations. No more Amala. Natamali, my guy, a chief from Ibadan. Are you serious? So a Nigerian chief married a Mexican woman, and they went from eating Amala to tamale. I mean, chop tamale too, to honor the culture of your wife, but still, I mean, and I'm not giving up Amala. I'm not giving up. If I know how to make Amala in America, I'll be making it. I just don't know. Me, I'll be Gary guy. And we know they do fufu for here. I'm talking about authentic fufu. I'm not talking about the adulterated one. Like my dad, we used to mix flour and mashed potatoes. That was our own version of fufu. I'm not talking about authentic. So because I don't have authentic, I just stick to Gary, which is authentic. So Gary is what I use and I swallow. But I'm sure if I were to go to a Nigerian restaurant, let's say in LA, in LA now, it's like Yoruba restaurant owners. Those ones, they know how to put Amala together. Vegas, we don't really have that. We only have like one Nigerian restaurant in Vegas. And the reason I stopped going there was because of just poor customer service. That's why I don't go to a Nigerian restaurant in Las Vegas. You stand there 1 hour, you won't see somebody. And then there was a time that we finished, and then it was time for us to pay. I pulled up my credit card. She was telling me that, sorry, bros, we don't take credit cards here. We only take cash. The sign is right there. Okay, like I'm supposed to walk into a restaurant and start reading the sign that says cash only. I didn't even see that. I just wanted to eat my food and pay. So I had to leave. Then I went to a 7-Eleven, went to the ATM machine and pulled cash for us. So that experience, and I was with my wife at the time. So that experience just didn't bode well for us. So we decided to just start cooking at home. My daughter now cooks Niger food, correct egusi soup and goat meat. Are you married to a Westerner? Or is your wife Nigerian? Okay, and goat meat. Okay, so all these local cube goat meats. It's not even real goats, sha. It's like American goat is different from Niger goats now. So when I was in college, guys, I don't do that anymore, sha. Like my friends and I used to go in on a goat. I think most Nigerians still do it in like Houston, Texas. They will just everybody will pool their money, buy a big goat, slaughter it, and then split it among themselves. So I don't do that anymore. But local Nigerian stores here still have like cubed goats. But those are like American goats. They are not like Niger goats. You know, Niger goats, we just they athletic. Like fats, no they at all. American goats are just like filled with a lot of fat. But I say enjoy pomo. Yeah. Listen, I eat pomo all the time. I'm a pomo guy, and I know that pomo doesn't really have any nutritional value to them, but I'm just a pomo guy. I like pomo, but it's still American pomo, American beef from American pomo from American beef. No be that Niger pomo that we are used to. I disagree. Most investors are lower middle class. Your 50 to 100K dollars has more value in investments outside of the major cities. You mean 50 to 100K in terms of profits? Or what? Look, if I had 50 to 100K right now, I wouldn't go to a major city. Look, you are Peter, you're abroad. Let me give you California as an example. You know, a lot of people are leaving California for smaller markets now. They're coming to Nevada, they're going to Colorado, they're going to Utah, they are going to New Mexico, they are going to Arizona. People are starting to flee. So that's yes, okay. So that 150, 100K, you're right. It does have more value outside of the major cities. You can't do much with like Cali or in New York with 50 to 100K. Most investors are actually not, most investors are actually middle class. So what would you classify as a middle class? I think a household that brings in $100,000 a year combined, maybe $200,000 a year is middle class. Lower class is if you're doing like less than 50K a year. But you're right, 50 to 100K, you can go to smaller markets like, and guys, remember, you don't always have to hit jackpot all the time. If you have investments that's bringing you, like let's say if you're a cash buyer, which a lot of people now are, a lot of investors right now, if they really want to impact and really want to leverage the kind of returns that they have, most of them are now like cash buyers. And they buy between, let's say, $150,000 to $250,000 cash. You see, like owner sellers are able to do that now. They just will rather deal with you if you have the cash money. You can only do that really in a smaller markets, like you just said. You're not going to be able to maximize. I mean, 100K to 50K in a place like California is almost unheard of. I think the point being made is that most Nigerians abroad don't have that portfolio capital to invest in major Nigerian cities. You are right. You know, Lagos is not for everybody. You know, it's like Lagos and Abuja is what most people are facing. And what is like the average investment right now if you were to build something in Nigeria, a decent, if you want to buy something decent in Nigeria right now, what in Lagos, what minimum $500,000? But you can still find something for 300. How much is $300,000? Because my uncle lives in is it Osaka, Japan? So he lives. His property right now is currently worth about 400 million naira. So 400 million divided by 1500, about $266,000. So if you have $300,000, a lot of let me tell you something. Very few Nigerians have 300K in cold hard cash. Let's just say you just happen to. Would you rather put that 300K in a Nigerian asset or in a US asset? I mean, I will invest in the US. So US is still, guys. I know I'm a preacher of a Nigerian investment, but United States is my primary platform. United States is my base. I just have what do you call it? I'm just diversifying to Nigeria. So don't think otherwise. US is still, if I have $300,000 right now, I'm going to look at what I can do in the US first before I look at what I can do in Nigeria with that $300,000. You see, my Nigeria portfolio is just an extension of my US portfolio, not the other way around. And that's why I said earlier, guys, that my systems are going to be largely US based. And a lot of Nigerians are starting to realize that they are also expanding out of Nigeria and diversifying their portfolio into the United States market. So I guess the bottom line is this: where is your primary domain? Make US your primary domain. Maybe Canada, maybe abroad. The diaspora, make the diaspora your primary domain. And then just make Nigeria an extension of that. But the most beautiful thing you can ever do is to buy in Naira and sell in dollars. You can only do that with consumer goods. If you can find a way to find something that the US or the diaspora market or even the international audience wants that you can manufacture in Naira and sell in the United States market. So if I'm advising you, don't make a safe environment your primary environment. Our own US is our base. We are just expanding our investment portfolio to Nigeria. When it comes to securities, I'm talking about stocks and index funds. My portfolio is still always going to be like 90% US equities versus 10% Nigerian equities. The only Nigerian equity that I'm interested in right now is that Dangote IPO that's going to land next year. Outside of that, I just have Boa Foods. Maybe at some point I'll expand and buy Boa Cement shares, maybe even Dangote Cement or Dangote Sugar. My boy in Maryland, he's a bank and tech guy. He owns a lot of all those banking stocks like Zenith and First Bank. That's more of his thing. Me, I'm more of a food infrastructure kind of guy, so I just stick with foods. I love where Dangote is going with Dangote Oil. I can't wait for that in 2026. But yes, our focus is still going to be mostly US. But again, you still want to invest in Nigeria though. But Nigeria, remember, is a high risk, high reward environment. But if you have $300,000, first of all, see what you can do with it in the US first. And maybe you split it. You invest 200,000 in the US and 100,000 in Nigeria. You know what I mean? But don't not invest in Nigeria. You know what I'm saying? You still need that Nigerian investment. Reach for governor in 2027 so that they can develop their abandoned beach. Listen, let me tell you, they always say that the kingmaker is bigger than the king. I just want to stick to business, guys. Politics is something else. To me, I don't see the upside. I'd rather be a rich businessman than a rich politician. I just don't see the upside in being a politician. I don't see the benefits. So me, I'm more of I want to be at a point where I'm rich enough to be able to shape policies, and I'm rich enough to be able to help elect Nigerian leaders. You understand what I mean? That's where I'm going. But for me to go and be running for office, I can't deal. Why will I be paying for the brake pad? He is not making money from Uber. Nonsense. Hey, listen, you are the one who sent him the car now. You are not obligated to pay for the brake pad, but how else is he going to get it fixed? You understand? So just because you are driving Uber doesn't make you a business person. That is why it's very difficult for you to run an Uber business in an environment like Nigeria with our roads. And also remember too, how much are these Uber guys making? All it takes is one police officer to harass them and collect everything that they made that day. So you have spent all day driving Bolt and Uber. And then you just, for some weird bad luck, whatever, you go and jam, or you come face to face with a police officer that is corrupt. They're just going to take your proceeds for the day. They're not going to rob you, but they'll put you in a position, a compromising position, to where you have to give up that thing. Give up your proceeds for the day, if it's cash. And then you start hearing the stories. I mean, this person still has to pay bills. If they have a family, they still got to feed their family, all from Uber and Bolt income. So it's not really a sustainable thing. If you want to support family members that way, you can just dash them. But must you send a car from America? Why can't you just buy a car from Wharf? A throwaway Toyota Corolla. You can find a throwaway Toyota Corolla in Nigeria right now for 1 million naira. Just say, okay, this is my business gift to you, whatever you want to call it. Don't come to me for fuel. Don't come to me for brake pads. Don't come to me for engine. Come to me for nothing. Don't come to me for Christmas gift. Don't come to me for birthday gift. Take this car that I'm giving you and support yourself. That's really all you can do. But I'm telling you, they're still going to reach out to you and ask you for assistance occasionally. Rich, I don't have time for grammar. Make I just pay OPC to deal with the contractor and reset. Who be OPC again? Nigeria didn't qualify for. Oh, are you serious? Nigeria didn't qualify for the World Cup. You know, you are talking about you planned parties. You know that my family and I, we actually planned to go to LA, Los Angeles, to watch Nigeria play. Oh, this is heartbreaking. Oh. I'm just honestly just finding out. We actually were thinking about it. Like, had Nigeria qualified for World Cup, we would have gone to watch Nigeria play, whether in Atlanta or Los Angeles. Gary, Tory 42, where are you from? Good day to you. Okay. Yeah, god damn it. That sucks, man. Okay, so Tory 42 said, good day, Rich. What is your perspective on moringa farming and snail? Don't do snail, though. Don't do snail. Don't do snail. Moringa, is it not? There's no really market for that now. That's more of a Niger thing now. I have 10 acres in Ogun State, and I would like to develop in the next 12 months. Stay away from anything living and breathing. So that snail slime thing, yeah. Look, snail is actually not healthy for you. There are studies out there that they contain a lot of toxins. Unless you want to just be dealing locally with Niger, moringa and snail moringa doesn't really cross over. I actually consulted with somebody that was looking into that moringa as well. But it's not really, I told them it was either moringa or cocoa. I ended up advising them to go with the cocoa route. But how many people are actually buying moringa abroad? You got to think of your customer. Are you trying to sell locally, Torre 42 in Nigeria, or are you trying to export to a global marketplace? If you're trying to export to a global marketplace, neither of those two is worth it. Now, in terms of, I mean, 10 acres is massive. What can you do with 10 acres? Would you look into leasing it, or do you want to actually cultivate? Plus, where are you based? Sorry, 42. Are you an owner abroad or are you an owner in Nigeria? It's going to change how you leverage that 10 acre. That 10 acre is a pretty sizable land. That's a big land. Sorry. CJ, can't we create a dirty December package and take advantage of it? One day will be for outings, another day will be for the party. A dirty December is good. Nigeria is about to go nuts, man. A lot of people are talking about. I mean, Nigeria dirty December is fun, sha. For those who are into that. Okay, your youth project, CJ. Yeah, look, CJ, we need to talk about your youth project. Remember, if you want to go into all that programming, computer related stuff, you got to have energy. How are you going to power your facility? And everything is energy based in Nigeria, Sha. You got to send computers there for them to be able to program. And also, CJ, are you planning like your long term goal? Like, where are you going to find the instructors that's going to teach them how to program? Are you going to use local instructors, local developers there in Nigeria? And also, how are you going to certify and train them? Do you want to make this an online project, or do you want to make it an in-person project, or do you want to make it do a hybrid of both online and in-person? There's just so many layers. And also, how long is your program going to run? Is it going to be let's say a 2 month boot camp to where graduates will get a certificate at the end, and then maybe you help them secure a job? So you are going to, CJ, if I'm advising, I think it's a good thing, but you're going to be well positioned if you linked up with companies that can then use your boot camp as a resource for programmers. It's also going to be a way for you to also attract students when you can position yourself as not just a place for them to come and learn programming, but you can also help them secure interviews. You see, you can't help anybody find a job, but you can help them secure interviews with companies that are looking for programmers. So now you are in a situation where companies can look at you, CJ, as an incubator where they can come and poach talent, or where they can come and find programming talent. And then prospective students can also look at you as an incubator where they can come and learn programming and then potentially secure interviews with companies that are hiring. Okay. You also need to specialize, CJ. Do you want to be a Python house? Do you want to be a Java house? Do you want to be a C++ programming house? Do you want to be a C# programming house? Do you want to do artificial intelligence? Do you want to do blockchain programming? You got a brand. You want to be that technical hub that people can come to. I'm telling you, CJ, you'll be, just like Peter said, you'll be turning down applications if you stage this thing right. Also, where are you going to be? Are you going to be in VI, closer to top Nigerian companies? You're based abroad, so you're able to actually go and sell yourself. Are you going to be in Ikeja? Ikeja is actually booming. But this one no go work if you're there at Jegunle.
You no go work if you do ogba. So proximity, a lot of this you got to factor in into place before you launch something like this. But do I think that there's an opportunity there for you? There's always an opportunity in technology. But it's how do you position yourself is what's going to determine if you're going to be successful or if you're just going to be just another regular computer hub. You understand what I mean? So your success is going to largely be due to initially. I'll probably start talking to companies before you start though. Just just start talking to hiring managers at companies, especially companies that utilize tech workers. What are some of your pain points? What are you looking for? They will start telling you, "Ah, we can't find programmers, we can't find this." And then you can build your school around that. And then part of your selling points, like I said, is you tell students, listen, we may not guarantee you a job, but you can at least guarantee you an interview with a company. Even if it's just a mock interview that they do, you gotta have that. You just can't be a school. What is the benefit for me coming to your school? I just don't want to learn how to program. I want to learn how to program so I can get a job. So you're going to need that trifecta. You're going to need a link with companies that are looking for programming talent. And you're going to need a link with students that want to get into programming. And you got to structure it. The best way to do it is just make it a boot camp. Make it a boot camp. And as your business grows, CJ, which I know it will, maybe you hire a programmer, one of the top programmers in what do you call it, in your city there in Canada somewhere. And you just take that person to Nigeria for, let's say, 1 week coaching. I mean, they will rush 1 week coaching program. Now you mix international with local. It's about internationalizing your business. But start with just stocking. And for you, you just need one class and one program. Maybe you just start with a one class, 5 student, 2 months boot camp. I don't know how much they are paying right now for classes in Nigeria for someone to come and learn something. You understand what I mean? So, just something to consider. The builders from Benin Republic are mopping the floor when it comes to construction. They are just more skilled than our local builders. Most tell me they were trained in technical schools. The problem is that you create more educated people without jobs. Well, not really. I mean, if you again start with companies. Are you CJ? Are you even talking to companies right now that are looking for technical talent? That is where I will start. I'll start building relationships with the HR departments of these companies. Then I will maybe connect with the CTO, the Chief Technology Officer. You see, the CTO is the person that's responsible for recruiting technical talent. You can't do anything without a CTO in the technical space of a company. So you can start with that. Maybe you get on LinkedIn and then you type in CTO Lagos or something, see what pops up. The CTOs, that's your engine. Not the CEO, not the chief marketing officer, none of that. Connect, especially those in the technical space in Nigeria. Start building relationships with the chief technology officers of those companies. Because those are the ones that will give you requisitions. They will give you requisitions. Okay, we need this. We need a Python guy. We need a what do you call it? SQL developer. We need a SQL administrator. We need a Java programmer. These are the CTOs. Is usually where it starts. So if that's what you want to do in that space, start connecting. Start speaking now to CTOs of companies in Lagos. Uh, Rich, it's working class, not lower class. You're right. What do you think about building a solid casino in Nigeria? But I need a vibrant beachfront. Well developed based on my own calculation for its successful. Listen, the only casino me have been to is the casino at the Federal Palace Hotel. And guess how many people are in there? Zero. Nigerians that can't eat 3 square meals a day, you want to go and put a casino there? I don't think a casino is going to work in Nigeria. Beachfront experiences can work. Listen, listen. I live in Las Vegas. A casino is highly regulated. You just can't just go and set up a casino. It doesn't work like that. And for those in the US who live like in Atlantic City and Vegas, another thing too that's going to give you problems is online betting. How are you going to compete with those in the online betting space? Nigeria is not an environment for a casino. Because think about it, you're competing with the US, you're competing with Macau in China. Those are the players, casino play. Okay, so you go out and win one millionaire. Nigeria is not built for a casino. I'm looking at the Kushata casino model in Louisiana. Nigeria doesn't have a major casino, but I just talked about that. You got to go through a lot of approvals. And okay, so when you say Nigeria, you got to be specific now. Where are you going to put this casino? Is it going to be Lagos? Is it going to be, where are you going to put it? You got to put it where, in a commercial hub, a place that is easily accessible on an international level. How many international airports does Nigeria have? I'll give you Lagos, I'll give you Nnamdi Azikiwe. Everything else is regional. Maybe is Port Harcourt international? Can you fly from the US to Port Harcourt? I don't know. I've never flown to Port Harcourt before. Can you fly from the US to Kano? I don't know. I've never flown there before, but I've only flown from the US to Lagos and the US to what do you call it? To Abuja. Everything else is. You see, spenders. You see, guys, it's not just about. Let me tell you something. I used to work for Caesars Entertainment in Vegas. I worked for Caesars and I worked for SLS. These people who fly in from all over the world, do you think they are just coming for the casino side? Or do you think they're coming for the Vegas hospitality experience? They are coming number one for the experience. Gaming is second. You see, when you enter Vegas, you got the day clubs now. Then you have the night clubs. Then you have the restaurants, and then you have the Elon Musk Hyperloop. It's easy for you to enter and leave Vegas. It's easy for you to move around. There's security 24/7. People feel safe. You see, when people are safe and they are calm, they can spend. Nigeria, everybody they fear. So you can't just say, and that is why the Federal Palace Casino doesn't really work. Because there's no experience outside of just the casinos, the casino itself. There's no experience other than that. So you got to be able to give consumers more than just a craps table and a blackjack table. Why would they know that? Why would they need that when they can do that in the comfort of their own home if they are into things like that? So Vegas is more of an experience first, gaming second. When you hear Las Vegas, you are excited. Beautiful women, handsome men. You think of the Vegas history with the mob, and you understand what I mean. You got to give people that experience energy. Where in Nigeria can you do that one? Abuja is largely politics. Yes, Lagos is more commercial, but How many places can you name in Lagos that can actually give you a good experience in the concentrated area? I'm talking about where you don't even have to leave. Everything is in that concentrated area. You are going to need that. You got to have dining. I didn't even talk about fine dining. You got to have that. Where in Nigeria are you going to go and do that with the casino? You see, in theory, it makes sense, but in practicality, it does not. Oh, light. You got to be able to power that casino 24/7, 365. Can't factor that in. No, the same person, they gamble, never go take light. Before they go and turn the lights on, 30 minutes don't pass. It's the energy. So I mean, like the number one thing Nigeria needs to fix. Maybe energy first, security second. It- when you have an enabling environment, people spend. When you have an environment, people are just they fear, they can't now. So the casino space is going to be a lot difficult for you. Again, you can do something, you can do it. That's your goal, but you got to look at all of these variables that I just mentioned. That's going to make it challenging for you to pull it off. License. Didn't Jay-Z just try to get a casino open in is it Atlantic City? And they said no, they couldn't do it. You also have to have the hospitality experience. You have to have casino experience. And also you can't do it from abroad. You gotta be in Nigeria. Are you ready to relocate back to Nigeria? All these things you gotta look at. Ah, okay. I'm from Atlanta. Okay, Tori. Yeah, okay. Good. Export. So no, don't do moringa. Don't do moringa. Don't do snails. Wow. If you want to really use that land or that 10 acre, I'm just trying to think of what you can cultivate that that you can that's easily sold in the unit. Because I don't want to limit you to just Nigeria. You see, for exports to work, you gotta find something that people eat other people eat other than Nigerians. You see, we've been able to be successful with our crayfish exports because American consumers also consume crayfish. We are successful with our suya spice exports because they also consume suya spice that they use for meat, marinating their meat. But we struggle with ogbono. Ogbono is just that's why we've discontinued ogbono. We are not selling them anymore. We still currently have some. We've discontinued gari because gari is just is for Nigerians and West Africans only. Americans don't really eat that. So again, if maybe we get together, Tori, book a consultation with me. Let's get together for a session and really look at and brainstorm ideas that can guide you better that way. Maybe you lease your land, but then again, you gotta have an ironclad agreement though. So if you're listening to people, but 10 acres is good. Palm oil palm plantation. I will not advise that. I did a podcast on that the other day because that's going to take you about 5 years. Plus, the only way you can really win with all palm farming is you got to refine into RPO, not the red crude oil, because US consumers don't really eat red oil. It's only Nigerians that eat red oil. So Tori, let's book a consulting session for an hour. You and I can brainstorm and see what you're thinking about other than moringa and snail. Don't do. Listen, we are in a livestock business in Nigeria. I did it for 3 years. I'm trying to sell my cow right now. That's in Uyo. Anything that's living and breathing that requires you to feed, you got to go and buy feed. You gotta do this. They'll die. There'll be sickness. There'll be diseases. You want to stay away from livestock or anything alive. That's also old school. Let's work together in internationalizing your farm. In a lot of what you're gonna do is gonna depend on if you have resources back home. Do you have people back home that can manage the farm? If you want to maybe cultivate cassava, that's another thing you can do. So you can use that 10 acres and cultivate cassava. There's a need for cassava right now across Nigeria. But yeah, reach out to me. Go to my yeah, just WhatsApp me. Ikeja is good. Ikeja is actually growing. Last time I was in Nigeria, I got a chance to visit Tony Street. I grew up in that area now. I grew up on that Ogba, Guda, what do you call it? Allen Avenue, Agege, Penn Cinema. That was my area now. So I'm very familiar with Ikeja. Yes, I was going to partner with Diasporan Tutors. That would be good though. But if you want to do it digitally, maybe that's another thing too. Instead of opening up an actual building in Nigeria, you can do coaching through like Zoom and do coaching through YouTube and just hire uh, the tutors abroad to teach Nigeria. I think that's actually a good draw. But there has to be an incentive though. Still, if you go that route, still also try and make connections with employers in Nigeria. So my sister works for a company in Canada, Sha. She works remotely for a company in Canada. She's based in Abuja. Because we need to build capacity in Nigeria. Yeah, I can see your thing work. I thought you wanted to go and build in Ikeja, but maybe you start remotely first. Make it an online tutoring business first and see, because it's easy for you to actually advertise it. People are going to use that service. But remember, your key factor here is going to be the tutors themselves. Are the tutors certified? Because you're going to use that certification to be able to market. So you got to have a certified Python instructor, a certified tutor, a certified Java instructor. Just all you need is just to start with one tutor, then just start marketing that person. Maybe you start doing training once a month or so, limit it to like 5 students. How much are you planning on charging though, CJ? Do you know? What is your price point? What's your price point? Because your students are going to be Nigerians, so we got to figure out your price point in Naira. Because you got to pay your instructor and then see if it makes sense for you. Nigerian companies don't employ programmers at the appropriate level, e.g., senior programmer will be doing the job of a junior programmer and will be paid similarly. Listen, if you're a good programmer, if you're a senior level programmer earning what a junior level programmer, I need to slap you. Look, you have a junior level programmer, you have a mid level programmer, you have a senior level programmer, and then you have an architect. Once you're in that architect level, you're like almost like a CTO level. If you're a senior level programmer, let's say you're a senior level programmer in Java, if you're making less than $150,000 a year, I need to slap you. Programmers out of high school, no, sorry, programmers out of college. Let's say a Java programmer fresh out of computer science college, literally 0 to 6 months of programming experience. Maybe they have something on GitHub or they have something on, or they've done like side projects. They program something, they have a little portfolio here and there. They haven't really worked for a major company. A programmer fresh out of boot camp is starting at $85,000 a year. fresh out of uh, uh, boot camp. $85,000 a year is what they're starting at. Full time. Yeah. So if you're a senior programmer making what a junior programmer is making, you have two heads. But I know, contrary though to what people think, there are companies are still hiring programmers though, even though everything is moving towards AI right now. AI is, yeah, a senior programmer. You're looking at 150 minimum 150K a year. Some of them are making $500,000, $750,000 a year. But you can find a senior programmer now. So that's one point where I was telling you, CJ, is your tutor. Why would somebody come and tutor for you when they can? You're not going to get a senior person to tutor though, CJ. You may not, unless you are just friends with that person, they are doing you a favor. Maybe you can find somebody fresh out of boot camp that can teach at that level while they are looking for a full-time job. They can come and teach with you part-time. That's why I was asking your price point. Programmers are expensive. And if they're going to share that knowledge with people and teach other people, they need to be paid for it. So you gotta think about that. Or maybe have you ever thought about maybe starting a recruiting company? Because you seem to be technical to me. You just place programmers in jobs. I'm checking out the Sphere in Vegas with the family this December. Oh boy, come please. I'm here. When we went and saw Wizard of Oz Thanksgiving weekend. My in-laws were in town for Thanksgiving weekend. So when I saw Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, a beautiful experience, man. It's like you are inside the movie, The Wizard of Oz. Literally, it's like you are part of the scene. When the air blows at the, I don't want to give it away, but let me just give you this small one. So there is a scene, Wizard of Oz, the farm scene. I'm talking about at the Sphere. So that farm scene, a tornado happened. Literally, they put you inside of the eye of that tornado. You get to experience the wind. I'm telling you, it's like you are inside of that tornado. No, I don't want to give too much away. But it's an experience unlike anything. That Wizard of Oz experience. And maybe the Wizard of Oz is still there though. But I don't know how long it's going to run. I heard it's a 1 year deal. That's what I heard. But I'm sure, especially with Christmas in Vegas, I'm pretty sure Wizard of Oz at the Sphere is still going to be at the Sphere throughout the rest of the year. But it's an amazing experience, man. Particularly that tornado scene that I just talked about, man. It's like you are smack inside of that movie. You feel the seats vibrating as if the tornado is taking you away. And then there's a scene where the building lands on your head. Yeah. Sorry if I give too much away, Peter, but you're going to enjoy it. But reach out to me. We are not going anywhere. My family is in Vegas because normally sometimes we travel to Minnesota for Christmas. But this year we are not traveling to Minnesota. My in-laws came in for Thanksgiving. So we're gonna be home. If you fall into town, message me. Let me know. I'll take you out for a drink, Peter. Both Lagos and Vegas have Olosho experience. No. Vegas does not have that too. So people think that Vegas has that Olosho thing. No, it's so there's a county called the Naya County. There's a city called Pahrump. That's where that stuff is. It's about 1 hour away from Vegas. Olosho is actually illegal in Las Vegas. If you are caught Oloshoing, you will go to jail. So people just think that because Vegas is where it is, there's a different county. It's called Naya County and Pahrump. If you're into all that stuff, just go to Pahrump. There's a bunch of brothels there. You can go and get your Olosho on in Pahrump. You just walk in. I'm telling you, it's like buildings after buildings of brothels. You just choose the one that you like. You enter inside. See me at the give this one. I'm a married man, but anyway, once upon a time I wasn't so much married. You just select. It's like you choose whatever you want. It's all legal. You select whichever one you want. You want tall, you want short, you want skinny, you want fat, you want white, you want black, you want mixed. They are there in a parump. I know this is a business network. I shouldn't be talking about that. But the guys, man, I am a, what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Hasn't come to my mind. But let's just say I'm well traveled. I have a wide range of experiences. And I'm happy to use this platform too to just kind of share and educate and talk politics and talk culture and talk investments and talk business and just, it's a different kind of, I'm creating what I'm looking for, a place that I can actually go to and listen to somebody talk about real life experiences and also participate in those conversations. I've been thinking about this thing called an investing club. I know what you guys think about that. I want to bring like minds together in this investing club. And maybe once every month, we all get together on Zoom and have a conversation about investing in Nigeria and broadcast it for the world to see. It's not going to be the same as the panel though. But I'm thinking like every first Friday of every month, I want it to be structured. Every first Friday of every month, just have members of the investing club come online and just talk and broadcast it. Let the world listen and watch and learn from us. I'm thinking about how I'm going to structure that investing club. It's not going to be free though. I don't know how much I'm going to charge for it. Maybe I'm making a monthly thing or an annual thing for people to come on. Diasporas can join the investing club. Businesses in Nigeria who are looking to reach diasporas could also join the investing club. I don't know. Just I'm still thinking about what I want to do with it. Okay. Whoa, 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 whoa. 3 hours. 3 hours and 12 minutes. This is the longest though. Na crazy. Jesus Christ. I have never had a 3-hour podcast before. This is my longest. So, CJ, I know you're in Canada. Tori 42, Atlanta. Where else are you guys watching from? Let's wrap this up. I'm hungry. I've not eaten yet. And I need to go and get back to this guy that wants to book consulting. I am also available for consulting, guys. Reach out to me. I'll work with you on the rates. What else? Sponsorships, brand partnerships. If you're a company watching this, you're looking at reaching Nigerian diasporas, partner with us. Let's promote your business and promote your brand. We'll structure something that works for you, get you in front of our audience. We are nearing 18,000 subscribers on the Barricade YouTube channel. So thank you guys for those who've been with us from when we had like 400 subscribers. I really appreciate you for helping to build and grow the community. Please continue to tune in, like, share, and comment. Tomorrow, I have not thought about what I want to talk about tomorrow. That's the beauty about it. It's like I don't have a structured programming. It's like just whenever I think about. Sometimes I can be driving. I'm like, okay, I want to talk about this thing. Let me just get online and start talking about it. So let's say, what are we going to talk about? What do you guys want to talk about? So I can schedule it for the rest of the week. Just let me know. So yeah, just know that I'm thinking about the investing club with Rich and Barricade. If you want to be a part of that, let us know. We are still doing the panel, the diaspora panel on January 3rd, 2026. It's going to start at 12 noon, where we're going to be having some diasporas on the panel who are investing currently in Nigeria. They're going to come, we're going to chit chat, broadcast it to a live audience. I just talked about the sponsorship partnership opportunity, and also talked about the consulting opportunity for those uh, looking into that. That's what this guy wants. This guy actually came in earlier. He was asking about the webinar. And I told him that we stopped doing the webinar because I didn't feel like the webinar was really worth it for my clients. See, I'm always thinking about my clients first, because the webinar didn't really force focus. It was a long drawn out thing, 1 month. So I just figured, you know what, let's just make it a 1 hour one-on-one session with me. By restricting it that way, it actually forces focus. So when you are meeting with me to talk about your business, you're meeting with me to talk about your ideas or to talk about your investment, just come prepared, because you're only going to get 1 hour. That's why I started doing the 1 hour consultations. It just forces focus. I want you to come prepared with the most pressing questions and pressing issues that you have, so we can go directly into solving your problems. The webinar was just, and plus the webinar, you're in a group setting. The one-on-one consultation is not, it's just me and you. And then I will give you an additional 1 month for free, where you can reach out to me with questions via WhatsApp. But the one-on-one session itself is going to be literally a video consultation. So if you have anything you want to look at, you have packaging, you have ideas, you can share your screen, I can share my screen. We're going to go deep dive into it. This 1 hour consultation is literally 30 seconds of introduction and 59 minutes and 30 seconds of show. You already know who I am, so there's not all that intro. We're just going to go straight into it, because you're only going to get 1 hour. So it's great for people who actually have an idea of what they want to do. To just have like specific questions or specific guidance. That's, I feel, was the best product because I'm all about products. The best product for the client. That's why we stopped doing the webinar, and we are not doing more one-on-one consultations for those who need that personalized expert guidance. So yes, Bereket.com. My WhatsApp number is 1702-201-8311. I got to send this guy my banking information so he can pay for his session. He's in Nigeria. All right, guys. All the best, guys. I really appreciate you guys. I will catch you guys tomorrow. Like, share, and be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, so when I post something, you get it directly in your inbox. And until I chat with you guys, be well, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you, CJ, Peter, Tori42, and Laja, for your participation as always. Okay, talk to you guys later. Bye.